What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show that walks you through the archives of R&B craftsmanship, legacy, and brotherhood. For those of you who've been living on the moon for the last 10 years, the gentleman to my right is...
I am Brian Michael Cox, and my player partner to my left is...
Jonte Austin. Welcome to Sessions. I don't know when the people will see this. Obviously, there's a look. It is a sad day for children of the 80s.
Yeah, it is, man.
To hear that the great Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris, man.
I don't know if Chuck was into music or what type of music he was into.
Yeah,
I feel like maybe we'll double back and clarify.
Yeah, man.
But Chuck was a hero for...
I mean, growing up in the 80s and the 90s, man. Chuck Norris.
Delta
man.
Force.
All the movies, man.
Missing in Action.
Missing in Action, yes.
And so this is an ode to Walker.
Walker, the Texas Ranger.
Texas Ranger, baby.
That's what we got a name for, man.
Yeah, you know, B. Cox is the Texas Ranger.
My dog.
And, you know, we usually drink wine, but we poured some bourbon.
Yes, we did.
Not Japanese whiskey. This is good old-fashioned, burn your chest, put some hair on your nuts.
Yeah.
Bourbon.
Bourbon. It's Kentucky.
Clantucky.
What did the boy say?
And we are going to do a toast to the one and only. Fun fact, the very first martial art that I studied was Tang Soo Do, which is what Chuck brought over from Korea and popularized here in America. So Chuck, you know, we grew up on a generation of Chuck Norris jokes.
Yes,
I've heard that Chuck is not dead. He's just touring the afterlife to see if it's worth the hype.
Exactly.
To Chuck.
Chuck, my dog. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Heard that Death had a near Chuck Norris experience.
Yeah,
that's what all the jokes were good. What's going on in music? You know, outside of Chuck Norris, the internet had some fun last week.
With the boy Jack Harlow.
With Jack Harlow, with the pictures, with the music. I want to go through some of these names. Music Stole Child. I don't have to look up. We have Declangelo, Jew Hill, which is...
That is
ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Let's see, Luther Clandros, Charlie Kirk Franklin.
Wow.
Most definitely not. I mean, and it just Eric Beignet, you know, like the little dope. I'm just not seeing this with Jesus Christ. Eric Beignet. Oh man, this is This is good. Lint Condition.
Lint Condition is crazy.
Yeah, I mean there have been a...
Oh no, they've had a field day.
Someone spelled so honky, but like Tony with the different spellings and exclamation points. So the internet, listen, Black Twitter.
Honky is crazy.
We don't ever want you to change. Black Twitter, we love you. Here's the question that I have.
Yeah.
In all of the hubbub,
I heard the album's actually pretty good.
I was about to say, did anyone actually listen to the fucking album?
I heard the album's pretty good.
Is it? Okay, I'm gonna listen to it on my ride home.
To be fair, I've not listened to it yet, but I've heard that it was good.
Okay.
Heard it was good.
Because that's the thing, you know.
Honky is crazy.
Yeah. All right, man, we back. We you know, we have a great, I mean, we always have great guests.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and legendary guests, of course. But era shaping versus trends. I feel like that's the theme of today, like music that really shaped
An era.
an era.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, we had Teddy on before.
Yes.
And I think that our guest today, like many of us, are students and children of him. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%.
But directly, when we talk about the late 80s going into the 90s, especially the person we bring on today,
Yeah.
there is just, it was so defining. You know what I mean? You take, we're talking about some artists he's worked with and help define not only an era, but a generation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Define
saying?
it and then extend or, reshape the sound of artists who by that point were already legacy artists. But the sound, was reshaped and extended and, you put up a banger. Cause I always say it's interesting, right? Because breaking new artists and helping them define their sound, Chris Brown for us for the first album.
Yep.
I'm always proud of, Chris's first album. It helps set the tone, and then you see the global megastar that he is. But in that moment, we're setting the tone, the sound, and those things. And that's different than and that's like rewarding because it's like, man, we helped
Create something. Or be a part of something.
Be a part of something. That turned into something that, was bigger than we could have imagined.
And we have songs that are part of that project that you have to sing.
You have to. Like, you have to perform them. You have to, you have to do them.
That's definitely gratifying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And then you have the moments where you're working with an already established, already iconic artist, but then you're able to give them a jam, to give them a single, to give them something to add into their already...
the arsenal of what they got.
Their catalog. A Be Without You for Mary J. Blige, that many years in the game. So it's, it's a balance and both are important.
I agree.
And obviously our guest today checks all of the boxes.
All the boxes, man.
I broke new artists. I, elevated the new artists that I broke. I took legacy artists and
made hits on them.
And made hits on,
brought them back, did whatever,
it's great. It's great. And so coming up, we'll see and sit and talk to the legend, the great, one of the coolest production names too.
Yeah.
DARP.
Dallas
Austin Recording Projects. Yeah. We're going to talk to Dallas. Hall of Fame. Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame,
Multi-Grammy
winner. I mean, can't
got some diamond plaques on the wall.
Can't even count how many records he sold.
Man.
Too many records.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you think about, Dallas is going to join us. I saw this not too long ago. It's maybe like, I think it's like 92 or 93 albums in the history of music that have gone diamond.
Really?
It's less than 100.
Not even 100.
Not even 100.
Wow.
So obviously when we talk about the crazy, sexy cools of the world and the histories and
What was Madonna's album? The Madonna album,
Yeah, we're going to get into it all. So yes, today's guest is none other than Dallas Austin, and we're going to sit and talk with him. We're going to start from the beginning. We're going to go through the present. We are going to ask him, kids. Today you're going to get your answer. He's been asked for years. I have been asked for years. One question. Jonte Austin, Dallas Austin, we'll give you your answer to that question when Dallas is here. Welcome back to Sessions. We told y'all we only bring you the best. We only bring you the legendary, the icons.
Yeah.
Songwriters Hall of Fame inductee.
Yeah, man.
Multi-Grammy award winner. Millions upon millions sold. We can't even count them. We're not gonna try. Artist broke. Legends careers extended.
Yeah.
Songwriter, producer, musician, composer,
Yeah.
all around one of the coolest guys to ever grace the music industry with his presence, the one, the only, Dallas Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
There
up,
we
man?
go. D.
I thought y'all was talking about Prince. It was sounding so good. The big up was like, I'm like, is that me they talking about?
There we go. No. We got you. We got you. Welcome, man. Welcome.
Hey, man, welcome
My
to
folks.
Sessions, brother.
Welcome.
brother.
I like this.
All right, so we got to kick it off. So I'm gonna ask a question about the name, but I'm gonna tell a story. It's not quite a rich nigga tale. We have a segment called Rich Nigga Tales. It's not quite a rich nigga tale, but we're gonna tell it anyway. So Dallas and I are at the Four Seasons. It's Dallas's birthday. You know, he meets me up there. We're having drinks. It's a good time. We have our ladies with us. And then I end up leaving before Dallas. And so now it's time for Dallas to leave. He comes downstairs. They're looking for his car keys. Can't find his keys. Brand new. You had just gotten this car.
I was in my Tesla.
You had just this was like early, you didn't see a lot of Teslas on the street back then.
I thought I was doing good. I had the roof back, pull up at the Four Seasons, go meet him for a drink. All of it was good and all of it. And then it was cool. He leave, and me and my girl, we're supposed to go to the W, right? So we had to stop by to get a drink. So I get downstairs, and I'm just standing for a long time. So now I'm like, something must be wrong, because they're not coming with my car.
Yeah.
Right? So then another few minutes pass. They come back, Mr. Austin, we finding your keys will be around in a minute. Sorry. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, damn, now it's a long time. Now let's say like 5-10 minutes. So then they come back and they're like, man, we got a problem. We can't find your keys.
Oh my God.
So I said, well, how can you not find my keys? My car is right here. You took the keys from me. It's got to be here somewhere. So it's got to be somewhere. Y'all got to find the keys. So now it's turning into like 10 minutes. Now it's 20 minutes. Now it's 30 minutes, right? Now it's raining. The car's sitting there. It's raining in the car, right? So now I'm like, yo, okay, what is going on with my keys? They're like, and they keep giving me the runaround. So now they're like, you got to go talk to the manager at the front desk. Now, it's a Tesla sitting outside, but it belongs to the Four Seasons, right? It's not mine. It's theirs.
Yeah.
So she's like, well, Mr. Austin, we just don't know where your keys are, so we can get you an Uber. From right then, I just started going crazy. I said, what the fuck you say to me? You're not Ubering me nowhere. It's my birthday. You lost my keys. Where are my keys? You took my keys. Now I'm going crazy, because now she's starting to get rude, the lady at the front desk. And at the same time, I think it's a basketball player. It's a basketball team coming into the Four Seasons.
The Four Seasons Atlanta is where, I don't know if I should say, well, I guess all the people know that's where the basketball team
That's where the
stays.
basketball team
Everybody knows that.
But now I'm getting livid, because now I got past my drinking point, because they keep giving me drinks too.
Oh,
So, let us give you a penthouse upstairs. I don't want no damn penthouse. Give me my damn keys. I say, you know what? I'm taking that Tesla outside right now. I'm taking the Tesla. So then the kids start coming out. Well, as the basketball team started coming in, she just told me I couldn't take the Tesla. So that's when I go to start pushing the trees over inside the Four Seasons. They should have took me to jail. I'm wilding because I'm mad. So now my girl's like, you know what, just calm down. Let's just leave, all right? Let's just leave. We've been here doing this for 2 hours. Like, you're gonna get in trouble. Let's just go to the hotel. So I'm like, now go to the hotel. I wake up the next day. Still don't know where my keys are. This one.
Someone had finally hit Charlotte and had put it together. Was there another Mr. Austin there tonight?
They done took my keys.
I wake up, it's Charlotte's calling me.
And put them in his car.
Put him in your car.
Yeah. They put him in his car, like, because they had the same last name. So they put the key up in his car, gave the key to him. I was sitting there living. I'm going crazy on these people, too. I never even think that at all. That's the last thing I thought. I thought that one of the valet guys done took my car home.
Yeah,
Took the keys home. And you know, back in the day, and A can contest to this, because he'll tell you this story too. Back in the day, that's what they used to do at Lennox. Right?
Yeah.
The valet, you pay the dude $100, he gonna take your key and leave it in the car. Niggas gonna come take it, they steal it.
Wow.
And then so I started thinking that's what was going on. I was like, y'all got this hustle going on, y'all got this. So I was going crazy. But no, he had it.
I had the keys. We got him to Charlotte's the next morning. Which brings me to the opening question. So I'm sure you get asked a lot. I know that I get asked a lot. Like, are we related?
We're gonna have to do the what's the name, bro?
We're gonna have
We're gonna have to do the like
The fact that you guys
it's almost impossible.
a 23 and
Yeah, the fact that you haven't done
It's
that
almost impossible that we're not.
There has to be a way.
so we need to find
we get
this
it all the
out.
time. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do it and then we'll bring it back to the show.
We'll do a 23 and
But it's definitely like
we'll
it's a unique name, a very unique last name in general. But
Yes.
it's a really unique last name, Black people.
Black people.
for Black
It's really
people.
Irish.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In
Like,
Georgia.
in Georgia.
In the music
Both from Georgia.
business,
Both of them, like,
It's impossible.
it's impossible.
So the answer, kids, is we don't know.
We don't know yet. We're gonna
But
find out. We're gonna bring it back here.
We're gonna find out. We don't know. But speaking of Atlanta, man, take us back to the early days. 'Cause where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school at Lakeshore.
Lakeshore, okay.
That's where I started, and then I ended up at MD Collins down Old National.
Okay.
That's right when I met JD.
Okay.
So y'all grew up in the same neighborhood, right?
Yeah, bro. Like
College
It
Park.
was in College Park.
College Park.
I thought College Park. I didn't know better because I came from Columbus, and my mom was like, I was like, we got to move. And when we moved, she just found the first job she could get, which was like pull folks on Old National.
Wow.
So I thought I was in Atlanta. I didn't know I was in College Park because we just landed in College Park, and then everything started being active there. I started going to school there. She was working at Po Folks down on Old National, so I started skating
Folks,
on
that's some
Old National.
old
and,
school
like,
Then they switched to folks.
then they switched to
That's some
folks.
old
Then
school
take,
Atlanta
But we know the put right. We
Yeah,
was back when it was.
then take the Po off of it.
When did you come up? So you were born in Columbus.
Born in Columbus.
How old were you?
I was like 13 when I moved to Atlanta, 12, 13.
Okay, so you're the same. So you know Joe, the singer Joe is from Columbus.
Joe's
as
from
well.
Columbus. Yep, he went to Carver. I went to Columbus.
Okay,
Wow.
so right. So you guys were in Columbus around the same time.
Around the same
similar,
time.
Okay.
Yep.
So when you say 13, 14, I've always heard this story. Was this when you left?
That's why
somebody
my
messed
brother,
your brother
my
messed your
brother broke
keyboard
my
up?
keyboard, man.
Yeah, this story is an amazing story.
No, I used to ask my mom to give me a calculator. I started with a calculator Casio, right? And I was like, every Christmas, give me a bigger keyboard. Because she didn't think I was going to stick to music. 'Cause my brothers had already been in music, and both of them played drums, and they got into girls, and they started, So she was like, you're not going to stick with it. And I'm like, yes, I am. So every Christmas, give me a bigger one. So I had the Casio calculator, then I got the bigger Casio, and I got the little brown Yamaha. And, these were still very small keyboards.
With the speakers on them.
These still had the speakers on. So I still couldn't be in no band yet, right?
Yeah.
And KB and Spec had a group called in Columbus, Georgia. I don't know if you remember KB and Spec from
Yes,
Basic Black,
That's
right?
crazy.
Yeah.
So Spec was
KB
like my
and Spec.
idol. Like, because Spec had a Poly 6.
Yeah.
So if you had a Poly 6 chord,
Yeah.
that was like you having an Oberheim in Columbus, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I couldn't really play in bands until I got a big enough keyboard, right? So I had my little Casio, me and Spec, Kevin, we had our band. I would show up with a little Casio. I was still 12. And then I finally got to the big JX3P, right? It was like $1,200.
Roland.
Yep.
Yeah.
My brother had to finance it through Tom Foods for like 5 years, right? So I got it.
You got it,
right?
though.
And we lived at downtown in Columbus. At that point, my room was like a makeshift room. My mom's restaurant was connected to it, so it's a soul food restaurant. So it was like, bad. There's rats running across the floor, and it's all kind of shit. So the keyboard was my saving grace to me. My mom was like, okay, he got this keyboard. Now he's gonna be happy about what he's doing. So I was playing in bands, learning the time, learning Prince records and stuff. My brother just came in one day drinking, and he was like, my mom said clean the room up, and I told him, I said tune people out when I'm learning to play the time,
Yeah.
And I was just ignoring him. He just picked it up, threw it across the room, and broke the keyboard. And when he threw it across the room, I was sleeping with this keyboard. I was like in love with this thing.
Wow.
How long it took me to get it. And then from that point, I was like, man, Went downstairs to my mom's restaurant, tried to grab a big knife so I can go stab him up.
Kill him.
That was my thing when I was little. I had a knife fetish because everybody. I was so little. My brothers was bigger than me, so I was just like, when I went to get those knives, they knew it was on.
Knives out.
My mom was like, "Oh, know what you're doing?" I said, "Nah, man." So she stopped.
He gotta go. He gotta go.
I said, "He gotta go."
Gotta go.
Good thing she stopped me though, because the rage of a child, you don't even know.
Yeah.
All you see is red and that he broke your keyboard. So I went, and my mom was like, we'll get it fixed when I was in fucked up. I'm going to Atlanta. My auntie already lived in Atlanta, so I'm like, I went to the Greyhound bus station. Like, I'm leaving. Like, I can't stay down here. Columbus was very dark for us. And so, like, because my dad and all of my whole family grew up there, and it was just dark.
Yeah.
And so I basically went to the bus station, and she was just like, you're not, what are you doing? You're going to Atlanta? I was like, yeah, I'm going to Atlanta. I can't be a big record producer down here. And she was like, well, come back home tonight. If you still feel that way tomorrow, she thought I was gonna change my mind. Went back home, got some money out of her cash register from the from the restaurant, and went back to the bus station. And now it's full on daytime, so the buses are going. The other night it was nighttime. So then she was like, "Look, if you're that serious about going to Atlanta, you're not gonna leave me. Just give me time to sell the restaurant, and I'm gonna go with you."
Wow.
And so she gave her time to sell the restaurant. That's why I said she didn't even know what she's never had a job before because she was self-employed in the soul food restaurant she had. So she found Pofo's. The closest thing to be like it.
Yeah.
And then we hightailed it and ended up in College Park. Then I'm in Lakeshore, and she's like, all right, we're here, so just figure out what you're here for.
Wow.
Kind of thing. I was little still. I couldn't even, Deborah Killings would come pick me up. I was running lights for her band, Princess and Starbreeze. So they would pick me up on the weekends because I wasn't old enough to drive.
Wow.
And I would go set up the equipment when they did shows, and then I would be the light man. And then once they took the equipment back to College Park to their house, they had a basement where they practiced at, so all the equipment would be set up in there. Then I can get to use their equipment when they gone. And so that's how I started making records and started making music while they were going on the equipment.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
That's so crazy. That's why I had to bring that story. But I was like, yo,
I never heard that story. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's an amazing.
It got me. I got a GX3P right now home. It's like still sitting there.
I was gonna ask, do you still have any of the old equipment? Like, did you go back and get?
You know what? I was such a keyboard fanatic because we couldn't afford it, and like I said, I came up in the era where the keyboard, the synthesizer just came. I started playing guitar first, and then I was like, all right. My stepdad played with James Brown, so I would get up in the morning, play guitar with him. And then, but then when the keyboards came in, I'm like, damn, they got guitar sounds on them.
Yeah.
My fingers ain't gonna be hurting. So I went hardcore on the keyboards. And that whole era where like Prince and Duran Duran and MTV and all that stuff was just coming around, and you could see the names on the back of the keyboard. So
Roland,
you saw Roland and Korg on the back or something?
Same.
It was insane. So I couldn't afford it. And so when I came to Atlanta, I would take the 88 bus from College Park all the way to Buckhead, so I could go play keyboards in Rhythm City, is what it was called.
Rhythm City. Wow.
Rhythm City. Remember, you see this in the yellow pages. You're like,
Rhythm
they had
City.
so many keyboards, and I would every weekend go out there, spend the whole day in Rhythm City playing keyboards. Until one day, this dude was just like, "Yo, you." Me said, "Yeah, get out of here. You can't afford that." He said, "Get your hands off of here. Get out of here." And it was the owner. And so I remember I was just on that 88 going back home that day, just crushed. That was the closest I could get to the Oberheim.
Yeah.
You couldn't sound like Prince if you're not an Oberheim.
Yeah.
And so I remember being like, man, one day I'm gonna get me a keyboard. I'm gonna keep all my keyboards. Right?
Wow.
So then after I made it, what's crazy is I went back in there because that was the only place then to buy keyboards. And the dude that used to let me play the keyboards, Chick was his name.
Chick, my dude.
Yep, he would let me play the keyboards. And so he knew kind of I had started to make it and then, stuff had changed or whatever. The owner didn't. He didn't recognize me as that same kid, but Chick did. And I went in there one day and I was like, you remember me? He's like, yeah, I remember you. You come and play keyboards all the time. And I was like, you wanna get out of here? He's like, what you mean? I said, man, I'll give you your money to open your own music store to get away from that dude.
That's how
Atlanta Pro he opened up, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I said, give me my keyboards at wholesale. Just get away from that dude over there, man. I was like, he's nasty. He's racist. I was like, I don't like this guy. And I gave him the money to open up Atlanta Pro Audio, him and Rick.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
And Chick was always a sweetheart.
Chick was always a great person, man. He was
dude. That's my dude. Chick always looked out for us.
That's amazing. I didn't know.
I knew that you funded an APA. I remember that was like the story. I knew that you had funded an APA.
They kicked me out, and that's why, like, when I got able to get keyboards, I got Rick would just like. Every time a keyboard came out, I didn't have to figure out what was out to go get it. It would be sitting in my room already.
For my producer friends, we keep referencing Rick. It's the legendary Rick
Oh,
Shepherd.
Rick Shepherd. Oh,
Yes.
man. Rick was my right hand. I never really had to, I wasn't really, I was like, Rick, give me some strings. He put the strings up, I'm playing. Give me some drums. Put the drums up, I put them in. He saved everything 10 times. He made us all our sound, our MIDI and all that stuff was together. So he was like the other source to everything. And so he would just have keyboards for days. And so I had so many keyboards at DARP. That's what I'm saying. I still got them in storage. We was talking about this earlier. I was like, man, I gotta
You
go.
have a room at the house that's just like.
I got a room at the house with them in there, and I'm hoarding all my other ones.
I love
So yo,
it.
it was so ill. You know, my first time ever seeing that kind of credit, like Rick Shepherd, like it was like MIDI programmer. Like it was like that was the first time I ever saw that kind of credit on a record. You know what I'm saying? Like you was.
Because you know what it was? I was doing Joyce Irby. I was signed to her, right? And she had me playing this bass line over and over and over. Boom, ba-doo, ba-doo, doo, 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 doo. And she was like, oh, you know what? It's about that much off. Well, you know, that's worse than being that much off.
Of course, yeah.
Right? So I was just doing shit over and over and over again, getting frustrated. And this is how I met Rick. It was at Cheshire Studios. He walks by and he said, I can make that play over for you. And I was like, yeah, but it's gonna sound stiff. It's gonna sound like like robotic. He's like, no. I can put it in to sound just like you do it. And finally, because first even she was like, no. And finally, dude, it was so crazy of a hair off what it was. She was just being like that. And he came in and he did it. And then I was like, what? And then he's been with me ever since.
Wow.
And when we were going to do Boyz II Men, I had did a record for Joyce Irby. I did Hey Mr. DJ for her and Dougie Fresh. That was like my first record that came
Remember
out.
that song?
And then, but I was signed to her, and when Michael Bivins and Kay Wells was like, you know, once you do this, the Kids Act, and then Busby got a hold to my demos. There was a cassette that had like Motown Philly, like Simpin', had all those songs on it as tracks. And so he was like, man, we want you to come do this group, Boyz II Men, but we don't want you to have her with you because we want to just be your influence. You're young, and they're young, and you know, she's an older lady, and kind of, I was like, all right, cool.
So you and Joyce Irby were like
We were
production
like,
partners.
she made us be production partners, right? So everything she was producing, I was producing. And so I was the guy, and you know, she was the writer and stuff. And she taught me a lot about songwriting and melodies and all kinds of stuff. But we were like that team, but then when he did that, she got pissed. So I couldn't go do Boyz II Men because she wouldn't give me the masters that I already did at Bosstown at the at the time.
The actual tapes.
I needed the masters because I laid the tracks down. I had these keyboards, so I ain't had that many then, but I had a few. I was with Rick, and so she was like, "No, you can't go until you make me until you go do me another Mr. DJ." So Rick was like, "Man, she just being, go. Let's go make her songs. Make the song in like 3 minutes." So how about this? I said, "Oh yeah, perfect. Now you can go, but you can't take the masters."
Wow.
So now I'm like, "You kidding me?" So that's another you can't go, right?
Yeah, basically.
So Rick looks at me and he goes, you know what, man? Alvin Spice was in there. I went to get this. Alvin Spice. Rest in peace,
Rest
Alvin
in
Spice.
peace, Alvin.
Alvin's one of the best engineers to ever do it.
Absolutely.
Started with him on 4-track.
Yeah.
But we go in to get the tapes, and Alvin is kind of torn because me and him and Rick are like boys, he's an engineer. And he just got his head down. I'm like, what's wrong, man? And he's just shaking his head. He said, man, I can't give you the masters. I'm like, what? He said, I know. He said, but she said, don't give you the masters. So I'm in there about to get sad. Rick looked at me and said, you know what? I believe you're going to be huge, man. I'm just going to go with you. Let's take the stuff. Let's take the equipment and go to Philadelphia. And I was like, okay. He's like, I'm just going to ride with you. Whatever it is, we're going to figure it out. I'm going with you. We'll do it. You're going to be a big producer. So we're taking a rack mount and his cases and stuff. And we head to Philly with the equipment. So, which was good because that's why I was able to do the rest of the album.
Because you had all your stuff set
I had my stuff with me, right? Because initially I was supposed to take the masters of Simpin' and Motown Philly and go do that. So now she's like, yeah, y'all go. But so we found a way to go. Now we're there, but now she's in dispute with Motown, and she's like, all right, well, it's a dispute, so because he ain't supposed to be there. So Gerald is like, Busby was like, man, come on, like leave the kid alone, whatever.
Yeah.
So I stayed there, and they said, you know what? You stay there, and then Monica Tanyan, who was running the studio at the time,
Monica Tanyan,
right?
yes, yeah.
She would put out food on the studio bill. So that's how me and Rick would eat cheesesteaks because she would put it on the studio bill because we had no money. We had zero. We had the hotel that Motown paid for and the studio, but that was it.
Wow.
So she would feed us. And then when I called Joyce to say, I talked to guys and they let me do more songs. And so I called her. I was like, yo, guess what? Instead of 2 songs, I can do 5. And she goes, I'm suing everybody. Click.
Oh, wow.
I was like, damn. So then I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, why would she owned everything, 100%. So I didn't understand why she would say I'm suing everybody, but she was just feeling that animosity between what she felt like the industry was doing to her as a woman. You know, understandable at the time. But that just made me backfire more and go like, well, how do I get out of this? So I called Mike Bivens, and he was like, call these lawyers. And that's how I met Joe Katz.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
The legendary, rest in peace to the
Joe Katz.
legendary Joe Katz. Yes.
Yeah, man. We were like, and so it worked out in another sense because of having all my equipment. I was able to be like, man, I could do the rest of this album. And they were like, you think so? Because they were in the Take 6 and they were in all the ballads and stuff. So I said, yeah, let me try. Because we would sit and play the songs like Please Don't Go and stuff. We'd sit and play on the piano and Lonely Heart, just playing them, but we hadn't recorded those or nothing.
Okay.
So I was like, let me do these songs. And they're like, you can do those? I'm like, yeah. We would like go back to the hotel room. And for the whole night, I didn't go to sleep. I just listened to every instrument on Tender Lover on Babyface's album.
Wow. And that's how you started. That's where it started.
That's why you hear Please Don't Go. It was like trying to sound as close as I could to something that was like.
I remember hearing that story. I remember being with you one night, you telling Kenny.
I was like, man, I just studied. The clave goes right there. The click, the snap's gonna go right here.
Wow.
And I went back and we ended up doing the whole album. And then from that point, then the kids were out. The ABC, who was ABC took off before Boyz II Men. And then we ended up having the kids go out with them. And so their stuff just started to kind of take off. Like Atlanta started to get its like little.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't know better. We just was like, we just wanted to hear our shit in the car, like on the radio station, address people at Linux or like whatever. But that's when we first started to see that. That's when Busby told us, he said, man, you know what? Y'all gonna learn everything we know, but we can't learn what y'all know. He said, y'all gonna have something different in Atlanta.
Wow.
Because when we gave him Another Bad Creation cover, we'd taken the pictures, on tractors and dressed them like BBD or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's like, y'all just walked in with the music, with the cover, with the group dress, with all this. And usually it takes us a staff to do that. But in Atlanta, that's just how we thought of it.
Wow.
We thought dress like the skating rink or whatever, and then make the music you hear and kind of try to get it played local. And that's how really everybody started to pay attention to what was going here. And I don't think Jermaine knew anybody either. We were just like, it was just what we thought you were supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Just address the acts, how they gonna look, pick the music on them, do the whole vision. But we had no idea that record companies didn't function that way because we was in Atlanta.
Wow.
What was the impact that the skating rink had on, if any, that had on how you made music, how you approach, because we all know I come from Atlanta as well, so you have, Jelly Bean over, in Southwest Atlanta. You have Screaming Wheels, Skate Town, Sparkle, yeah. So, what was the impact that culture had?
It's crazy when you look at it now because obviously everything's somewhat different.
Yeah.
But it was such a culture center, it was insane. Like you go outside, it's all the Volkswagens, half painted green, half white, half orange, half white, half purple, half white, inky wheels. And it was just this whole crazy culture box. And being there, it was like, I guess this was before you could really get to the strip club. This was before the strip club really became popular to us because we were too young for one.
Yeah.
But you had stuff like the Mr. V's and Chantrell's and all the stuff.
Marcos.
Yeah. And so it was where we all went to be in the club at. So all the records were playing there. I was watching Tion's Uncensored the other day, and she was talking about how in the skating rink, they wouldn't let her dance because she was a girl. So it was all Divine and Sinard and all of them, and everybody was boys, and she was the only girl.
Jesus Christ.
Girl,
you don't have to drink all of that.
Shit. Got some ice in there?
Holy shit. Can we get a couple of cubes of ice?
Cubes of ice?
And,
damn, that's a whistle pig in it.
Wow.
No, but
Elijah's not going to bartend for us anymore.
He's going to break it to you straight, dog.
Right. Sorry. Tion.
I was looking at it come across the room. I was like, damn, really? It's going to be hot. Get up all the traffic.
Is that what we're doing? Is that what we got going on right now?
That's how we're doing. I'm like, all right, cool.
Okay.
That's crazy. No, but it was the skating rink culture was so crazy because, like I said, it was rough. It was like drug dealers and
Yeah.
it wasn't no nice like
No.
it was jelly beans. So it was like it was like a small club. But for us, it was like where you could go and do your thing at. So
Yeah. You remember the small room off the skating rink floor? That's where everybody went into. It's pitch black.
It's
It's
black.
teenagers
Just acting a damn
freak
fool,
dance.
acting
I'm
a damn-
talking about.
acting a
Am I
damn fool.
living? I'm damn talking about.
You know
Good
what?
gracious.
You know what's amazing about hearing this story?
Sharon Showcase.
It's so amazing because I feel like black culture, black kids all over the nation, that was the culture. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean-
we grew up skating rink, same thing. I'm on the south side of Houston, Texas. There was a skating rink called Super Skate. You go to Super Skate every weekend. They had the dances. They had the room with the everybody
Side
over in the
room.
side room. Everybody do little freak dances. They got the
Oh my God.
And it was like our own little language.
And what's
It
crazy
was,
is here
you
is
know?
all of us really came out of that skating rink. DJ Toon was a DJ.
Wow.
I'm skating there. Divine's in there.
Yep.
T-Boz is in there. Sleepy Brown's in there.
Wow.
Rico Wade's in there.
Wow.
Like
Everybody.
I thought Rico Wade was like a different. Cause back then when you see we had the guys that was like, excuse me, let me turn this off real quick, guys. Call Me Maybe is my ringtone. One of my favorite pop songs.
I love it.
So, but Rico, they had these different levels of like street dudes at the time, right? So you had some of them that wore like all silk clothes.
Yeah. But then we got the Pompadour.
Pompadour,
Yeah.
right? So you knew them was like the ballers, the gazelles.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I walked in, I saw Rico just all Willie wear it out, wear this with his big phone, the big box on
Yeah.
it. And I was like, oh man, this dude right here, he must own like
Got the
beauty
money.
shops and car washes. And he's the man, he's the dope man. I didn't even know. And then, and I remember I came back a couple of weeks later with a smaller phone because the little ones, they came out.
Yeah.
It's still big.
Still
like
blocked,
this.
but yeah.
That's how me and him started talking. That's the first thing we started talking about was the phones with each other. Like, yo, you got that
Wow.
phone, man? You got that phone, man? And then when I was known in the skating rink, because I started doing music before that, like Mr. DJ would be playing in there. They would just play it for the, But like, so I was known as the music kid at the skating rink. And then that's what kind of like set off, organized having the room in there and everything else. And Pat and them had a group. And it was just like all of us started kind of living that musical dream out of that skating
Wow.
rink first. And then when they saw that I could make it, then everybody was like, okay, we can do this.
Well, no, that's the general consensus. Every person I've known or talked to, even from Jermaine to when Rico was here, God bless, we would have conversations. And it was like, yo, Dallas. It was like, yo, we all looked at Dallas. Like Dallas, I mean, he made it like possible he made it seem like accessible.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, he made it? Oh,
Yeah.
It was,
You know.
and big ups to Joyce again for it because her taking me out to Motown and meeting Gerald Busby and all that stuff at such a young age made me be right in the mix. So I'm out there with the boys and the good girls and like when that Motown had that whole resurgence.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And
the boys.
the boys,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Time my heart.
Yeah, bro. Like,
That's amazing. And
this
then
is right around the time when, it's a crucial time during that period because it's L.A. and Kenny they do that big song deal in Motown.
they sure did.
And MCA and Gerald is instrumental on that.
Yep.
Teddy does
Teddy.
his song deal with Motown. MCA, that's
Yep.
Gerald's instrumental on that. It's like to be with Gerald
Oh my
in
God.
that
he
time
was-
is crazy.
Gerald Busby, if anybody out there don't know who he is,
it's worth a Google.
It's worth a Google.
It's worth a Google.
he's the real black music executive that everybody patterns themselves after, from L.A. Reid to anybody that's been in this industry, from him and Clarence Savant like this. And, that's the two of them, who got me out of the Joyce deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clarence Avant is known for getting people
He's
like
the
that.
Godfather.
The
I
Godfather.
remember talking with LA and I asked him a question about Gerald. I got to meet Gerald briefly, maybe 94, 93, 94-ish. But I asked LA, where do you put him as an executive? And LA says, nobody better to do it. We want it to be like top-notch record, man.
Yeah.
He came from Mattel. He used to work at Mattel also, so
Yeah.
he knew how to market.
Okay.
things. And he took that marketing approach to stuff like No Audition.
So crazy. I met Gerald Busby at Jermaine's house. We were working on Johnny Gale.
Yep.
Damn.
And it's right before Gerald passed. It's like
Damn.
right at the time Gerald passed away, right before he passed. And we had talked on the phone before because Shantae Moore was signed to
Yep.
No, I'm sorry, she signed to Lul.
She signed to Lul.
She signed to Lul. That's what she was signed
What a
to.
renaissance time. Gerald
Lul-
Buzzley,
Gerald
Lil
Buzzley, Lil
Silas at
Silas.
MCA, Andre Harrell at
Timmy
Uptown.
Regisford,
Timmy
like-
Timmy
Regisford.
Regisford.
We had
Like,
Troy Taylor on, and he talked
Troy,
about Timmy
talking about
Regisford
Timmy-
gave him.
Dude, that's just, I don't think Timmy Regisford, people don't talk about Timmy Regisford enough.
Regisford,
This
man.
dude, the first time I ever heard he sold his soul, right,
Mm-hmm.
was through Timmy Regisford, because he was going back and forth. This is when record execs like himself and Lil and all them, this is when record execs was really pushing the music. Like, they were really in control of what was, it hadn't got to the fluff yet. Like, if you were an A&R person or a record exec at the time, you were actually really, really dealing with music.
Yeah.
You know, the Daryl Joneses who started back then also.
Yeah,
I met Daryl at Motown back then.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, they were really in charge of dealing
That's
with
crazy,
records and music.
Yeah.
Still to this day, like, he's doing Cardi and everybody now, right? But that era was defining for us in so many ways, because you had people like the Geralds and the Clarences who kind of had a net on the black music industry, right? Like, when the Clarence, I remember when I was in the bad contracts and all the stuff started firing off, and I got ABC, Boyz II Men, NTLC, all the stuff sold out, selling crazy. My mom's still working at the barbecue space, right? Yeah. So, but one day I'm in this Range Rover, and then I get a call. It ain't even mine. It's some dudes, some street dudes I know, that just like, yo, man, you know that's
can't be
that
out
story
here.
is,
Yeah.
You need to have a ride. You need to have
Yeah.
we got you kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, the phone ringing there one day, and it's Clarence Avon. I'm like, how? This ain't no Clarence Avon calling me in no street dude's Range Rover. So I just kind of like, yeah. I kind of hung up, and he goes, Dallas, no. Gerald told me to call you. And that's when he got my attention. I'm like, oh, this is the Clarence Avon? Because all I knew about Clarence Avon is he's the godfather of the industry. And he had Jimmy and Terry. And he had
Taboo Records.
And, for us back then, you already had
was
the
top.
highlight, right?
Top.
And so, long story short, he ended up getting me in out of because he knew everybody like we do now. So he knew the Joyces, he knew the Ron Sweeney's, he knew everybody involved in it. So he just kind of like dissembled it and worked the deal out, whatever. And when and I remember when I first got some money freed up, I was like, man, I got to go take care of Clarence. How do I thank him for doing this? So I buy him a Rolex Daytona, and I go out to his office and say, man, I went and bought you something. He said, you bought me what? He said, little nigga, you got no money.
That's Clarence. Oh my gosh.
He said, what you think you bought me? No.
Keep your money?
You keep that. You can't. I said, dude, well, you just take it, and then if whatever you want to do with it, you do with it. Oh, fine, whatever. He said, what I want you to do, I said, because I feel like, man, how do I pay you back for this? I gotta, how much is this? Because I didn't understand. I didn't know if he was a lawyer.
Yeah.
I didn't know what he was, because he had hooked the thing up. He said, no, man, what you do for me is make sure that y'all don't do this to each other. He said, you got to stop doing this to each other. You got to go out and make sure down there that people in the industry, that y'all don't be fighting over money, don't be fighting over contracts, don't be doing bad contracts to people, y'all got to all look out for each other. That's what I'm doing here now. He said, because remember, he was doing it since the days of Soul Train. Jesse Jackson and all fighting for the rights of black people to do this and that. So he's like, y'all got to cut that out. If you just do that for me, then you did your job.
Then you pay me back. Teddy said, we had Teddy here, and Teddy's told a similar story of like, you want to pay me back? This is how you pay me back.
This is how you pay me back.
Yeah.
And that's what's funny is him doing that is why we resonate that way.
Yeah.
It's still why I'm like that from that point. I give him more advice to everybody in this city on music, or if they had anything going on, or if it's a situation with Fly and Def Jam, and they're gonna call me and say, Dallas, go sort it out. And I say, they go, oh man, come on, man, what is this?
What
You
are we
understand
doing?
your contracts? Do you understand your thing? And all that came from having Clarence and them lay that out, and then hopefully when we do it, it keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. Because if you look at it, it's made a difference. Because
Absolutely.
back in the other days when you did have, the Lon Levy's or the Shugs or I mean, at one point, it was really a gangster-driven business, and it got to the point where that was on top of the music works. The music worked for the gangsters. Whether it's been, told everybody just how the music industry was built.
Yeah.
And that's why you always hear the stories of the artists dying and owing tax money, or not doing this, or not having that, or it was just built that way. And I feel like from our era up, we got a chance to, for one, not only be entrepreneurs and have our labels and have our stuff, and we have joint ventures, whether it's So Deaf or Rowdy or, whatever it is. We all had a different flip happen at that point because what Gerald and Clarence put in place, and that's how LA and Face got LaFace.
Yeah.
Being one of the first joint ventures like that. But it was all under that same regime. And it just shows you the power of what he's done is came down through all of us still, and it'll still keep going, and laid a new framework because we don't really have that kind of industry no more.
I do think a lot of it had to do with, too, is that they picked the right people in the right city because Atlanta is a culture like we do. It's healthy competition, but no one's trying to, get over on someone. We do want to see everyone win. And we, we show up to everything that everybody's got going on and, in true support. I wanted to ask about, so you say ABC popped before. So how did ABC happen? Because your brother, who we know is your brother. Okay, we don't know if I'm your brother yet, but we do know. How did ABC come together?
Well, because Kevin had him, K. Wells.
Okay.
Big shots to K. Wells.
Shout out to K. Wells, Kev.
The best developers it is in the business.
Absolutely.
We had a machine at one point, but he had ABC, and he had been taking the kids, and they've been doing dancing around, for money and stuff like that. And so he was really the first one when they showed him to me. I was like, these kids are cool, and then me and K. Wells started to hang, and Mike Bivens was starting to be in the mix, and so that's how we kind of just, man, I don't even know how Kev met Mike.
Wow.
But when it started to we started trying to hang out a little bit and stuff, and then BBD was starting at that time, and so Mike was heavy in Atlanta, and going to Athlete's Foot, buying one shoe that looked like one shoe that looked like the other one.
Yeah.
We didn't have no money, so he'll take us and he'll buy us stuff too.
Wow.
So I remember being like, man, I just want to be like Mike Bivens one day, so I can be doing
Most
that too.
people did.
Yeah.
Most people did.
People don't realize
Will
that.
Biv set this off.
You kind of say, I mean, we can talk about all the young.
He was the first
was the
one
one.
he was the first one to have anything like this. And
What mall did you go to, real quick?
It was a Greenbrier.
Greenbrier. Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. There we go. That's what I wanted to hear.
Everybody sneakers. The kids get sneakers. We got sneakers. Everybody got sneakers. But that was like the kids were like, because they were kids, it was such a phenomenon. And
how old was the youngest? With Rose?
5, man.
How old?
Little Dave.
Dave.
5 years old.
Dave was 5 years old.
Shit.
Like, it was to the point.
That's crazy.
Now when you think about your kids, you'll be like, damn. So they were 5, 7, 9. GA was the oldest, which was like 11 or 12 at the time. But they were all in between that range. And when they blew up, it went quick. So the kids would just like freak out because you got people running at them, screaming at them. They just start crying because they're children.
Wow.
So they would just
don't know how
freak
to
out.
handle it. Like, yo.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's incredible.
And then the more they got, then once the Boyz II Men kind of balanced out, because they would open up for ABC at first, and then once the Boyz II Men kind of came and balanced everything out, then they all kind of started working together, and Mike kind of built out the crew. And then even with them, everybody was, Atlanta was the development center at that point. Like we were development and didn't know it. Everybody else recognized it and we didn't. Right?
That
we
was just doing what you thought you had to do.
Send them to Divine.
Yeah.
You got to know how to dance.
Wow.
Right? K. Wells usually gonna be the manager. Send them to me, I'm gonna do the music, or send them to JD, or like, it was, everybody went through the same thing. Monica, Sammy, Boyz II Men.
Ian Burke is somewhere in the middle.
Ian is in there.
Mix.
Ian has always been in the mix.
Know.
And Atlanta at that point was really like a hub. And I think that's what still makes us tight as being enjoyed. It was still us against them for the longest. It was like, if you was from here, you wasn't accepted. For hip hop, for one, you wasn't even accepted as a songwriter in LA. So we would just come back home like wishing that we could either be out there or be accepted in New York or LA. And then we just started creating our own stuff.
And it's interesting that you say that, because during that time we felt it. We felt the resistance in other cities.
Really?
Bro.
I saw something interesting online. I think it was Jadakiss's son, who a few weeks ago said that, a misunderstanding, at the Source Awards and the South got something to say, made Atlanta think that New York didn't really fuck with them.
Yeah.
And it's like one isolated incident. And the people from Atlanta is like, I'm as an Atlanta guy who was going to New
that
York,
ain't
it's
it.
like,
Nah,
you're
that
too
ain't it.
young, you
That was
don't
the
remember
breakthrough
it.
moment.
That was
that
the breaking point.
That was the breakthrough moment
It was
because
New York was absolutely resistant
Oh.
to, and not just to Atlanta,
South.
to non-New Yorkers.
to non-New Yorkers.
You know, New York,
New York
at that
was-
time, yeah.
Because I remember when, you know, I
Yeah.
remember hearing like when the Ghetto Boys finally blew up with Mind Playing Tricks, and
Yeah.
Mind Playing Tricks on me blew up in New York.
Yep.
And I remember hearing that being like such a monumental
Correct.
thing. Like it was like something that had never happened.
See, the way we figured
You
it
know what I'm
out,
saying?
the way we figured it out, which I think Bob Playing Cheeks told me the same way, the way that, you know, coming up on Prince and then Jimmy and Terry and Quincy and Funkadelic and all that first, that's how we were, even some of my first songs I ever wrote sound closer to Babyface than anything.
Yeah.
Right? But that was before Teddy really started jumping.
Yeah.
And before hip hop out of New York started jumping like that. So then once we started to figure out, it's about
Bomb
taking those
Squad and all that
samples.
was happening right here.
It was about taking the samples. It was about taking the beats like and putting those beats under there and making records on top, which is what we saw Teddy do first. And then was like, if we adopt some of that, that means we're gonna adopt some of New York. If we adopt some of the songwriting methods that they have from LA and from Minneapolis, then we're gonna be better songwriters than everybody. And we started putting all that together. I mean, I know that was my formula for the longest. I would just go, how am I gonna be like the Bomb Squad? And then write a song that's gonna be like Depeche Mode or Prince or somebody else on top, as clever as their stuff,
yeah.
right? And so it would give us the nudge into being accepted like hip hop because of the samples and stuff, and being like what you was hearing out of New York from the Bomb Squad or from
Shout out
Pete
to Hank
Rock,
Shockley.
Pete Rock and CL Smooth,
Keith and Hank.
Keith and Hank. I went to be, man, I never forget I went to Green Street. It was like I walked to the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Because you would just see those names on the records and, you know,
said this, those
and you'll be like,
names.
the names on the back of the records, as soon as you got to that studio, you just felt the energy of whoever worked there. So as soon as I got to Green Street, I'm like, this is where all the Public Enemy stuff is made at, you know? And then you start to feel that energy of it. We mixed Another Bad Creations album up there because that's what Mike Rivers was like, you know, we got to do it at Green Street. That's what Hanging Chocolate and them work. It needs to sound like that. And that's what linked us into New York. New York wasn't really, they weren't messing with us until we start feeling like we had more universal stuff because the South at that point was a lot of 808s and like, you know, it was like almost just booty music.
Miami bass and yeah, exactly.
Once Cash started coming with beats that felt like that ain't just a regular Southern beat, Organized started coming with that, and it started being universal. Then that's why he made that statement, because for real, New York wasn't messing with nobody at all.
So I want to pause this for a second, right?
Yeah.
Pause right here for a second because we talk a lot about New York. We talk about, I remember we had a conversation before and you were telling me how you were just trying to do Bomb Squad with chords on top of Bomb Squad. And I was like, going back and listening, I'm like, oh my God, this is exactly what this was. You know what I mean? Like, we go back and listen, Ain't Too Proud to Beg. It's like,
Oh my God.
it's like 50 samples, but it's these beautiful bridges, this baby figure. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, I get it. So I want to go back a little further before you develop that sound. Because I first remember seeing your name on like Troop.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
Will Always Love
I was like
You.
16,
Like
17
him
then.
writing, like you wrote that song. Like,
Yeah.
Is that you doing your best Babyface impression?
That's me doing my Jimmy and Terry.
Jimmy and Terry.
And everybody can say this about Jimmy now because I've seen this in a couple other interviews, but he was literally the first one. I mean, for me, maybe that was just Minneapolis, but he would play the melody, and then the melody would be the same as the melody that they're singing on top of. So da 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 da, da only human, da 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 da.
Yeah.
He always has the piano lines following the melodies, or the melodies following the whatever it is. They're always the same.
Way. Yeah. I definitely got it from him. Got that from him.
Got it from him.
Yeah.
So like that thing was like me wanting to be them so bad that I was like, how do I take the elements of? And I think was that before or after? That was before they did the audition, right?
That was before.
It
That was before like the.
That was before Any Heartbreak?
No. That was
after.
before.
It was after Any Heartbreak, right?
It was after Any Heartbreak.
Yeah,
I was saying it was before like you changed. It
That
was like
that was before. That's when I was in my Babyface and Jimmy and Terry.
Yeah.
And because Joyce came from that. Joyce,
Yeah,
you know,
of
she's in
course.
Climax. So Climax and The Deal were all on Solar, and so they were all. Matter of fact, she's the one that told LA and them she was going to Atlanta.
Wow.
She's the one that came to Atlanta first. LA didn't follow her because they were all on Solar.
Yeah.
Sound of Los Angeles
Sounds
Records.
of Los
Shout out
Dick
to
Griffey.
Dick Griffey.
Dick
Rest in
Griffey.
peace.
Dick Griffey.
And speaking of sounds, see, people didn't recognize the Solar band Sounds of Los Angeles Records. That Shalimar and the Whispers
Yeah.
and the
Dynasty
Deal
and
and
Neon Silvers.
Dynasty and what's the Barge?
But the Barge was on Motown.
It was on Motown. That's right. But then me and Teddy was talking about this the other day when I saw him. Gene, because Gene and again, there you go, Gene and Dick.
Yep, Gene Dick Griffey.
That's the gangster on this side, the gangster on that side. That's on this
East Coast,
side.
West Coast, yeah.
And they was homies.
Gene Griffin and Dick Griffey were homies.
They were homies.
Yeah.
And so Gene started Sounds of New York,
That's the Sony
Sony.
Sound of New York.
So what he did was took Teddy and he did Teddy
Basically,
on purpose and put him on every label without doing a label. Because Teddy had production, he never had a label. He had production situations at Virgin, Motown, so he'll produce, but it wasn't a label. So because Gene's plan was to go to the Japanese and start Sony Music, right?
Because they already had
Because he
Sony
already had
over
Sounds
there.
of New York. So you couldn't start Sony Records, it was only Columbia.
Yeah.
Right? So after Gene put out Today, like, ooh, did you really want him?
On Motown.
Do you really want me? They're on Sounds of New York. So when they started to blow up, and his goal was, again, I'm going to go talk to the Japanese, they're going to give us this money, we're going to start Sony Records.
Yeah.
But that was too big of a feat for a gangster, the black gangster was doing it. So they all behind the scenes nipped that.
Nipped it.
And then that's when they started going at Teddy to try to get him away from Gene and set him up in MCA and let us give you your label Future, let us give you this, and this.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't make the Sony deal happen with Gene being in the way.
And what's interesting, too, is that there was already a development, if you know the history of that, there was already a development of, because Sony in Japan
Had it.
was already doing CBS records.
Yep.
They were already doing all of the imports.
Yeah.
Yep.
So great. I mean, obviously Gene knew that, obviously.
Oh, yeah. He
And
was
was like,
smart.
I'm gonna go over there and get that.
About to say the vision.
Yeah, I mean,
smart.
He had the vision.
was there.
Yeah.
But then people was like, nah. Sony? No way.
No way, there wasn't.
No way.
Yes.
Columbia Records, CBS is gonna be Sony. And
Teddy
Yeah.
Teddy is another one, man. Since we talking about early stages, like when I remember me and Kim Porter and all of us being in Columbus and listening to the guy in Albie Shore Records and being like,
that is so surreal, bro.
how is this even possible? Like, what are we listening to right now? Like, I just even hear it night and day and hear the do,
Kyle
the
West.
D50, do. Just the way those keyboards sounded. For that time, you just like, it just blew your mind. It was just
It was
like,
so futuristic, it was really unbelievable.
And the engineering of it and the, everything about it just put you in a whole nother zone. So I was just like, I gotta get to Uptown. We gotta get to Uptown. And Joyce ended up taking me because I kept saying, I want to meet Andre Rell. We'll get to Uptown. So she ended up taking me to Uptown. Might have been like 15, 16. That's when I first met Puff and first met Andre. But they were in Brooklyn and they had like Finesse and Sinquist and Gene. I didn't realize and I'd known Gene from being my uncle, but I didn't know he was the same Gene that had Teddy.
Wow.
And because Gene went off to jail for a while.
They say he did 10 years, they said. Yeah.
He did 10 years. But see, Gene and my dad them used to run dope between New York and Columbus, Georgia when I was a kid. And so did Melvin, so did Puff's dad.
Yeah.
So they all, before we ever knew each other, whatever, they were all running dope back and forth. And they go to Columbus, and then from Columbus, they would go everywhere, Atlanta and everywhere else. So I knew Gene from that as a kid, and being my auntie and him having mean coats and always being fly and bringing us boxes of clothes. And he was known for that in Columbus.
That's crazy.
Like, for that in Columbus, Gene Griffin's name was like the biggest gangster, the biggest this, and him and my dad did their thing, whatever. And so he went away for those years. And my mom, working at Po Folks, right, got a call one day from Gene Griffin. He goes, Bill, I need to talk to Dallas, because he heard I was in the bad contracts with Joyce.
Yeah.
Because they started getting around, Motown and stuff. Started getting around the industry. And he put two and two together, and he called my mom at Po Folks and was like, yo, you got to tell Dallas I need to talk to him. I talked to him. If his dad knew I was letting this happen to him, he'd turn over in his grave. I need to talk to him. I need to talk to him. So my mom was like, Dallas, why did Gene Griffin call me today at work? I'm like, Gene Griffin, Columbus? The gangster? She's like, yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. And then she kept talking and talking. I wasn't paying attention. And then he said something about Teddy Riley. I was like, oh.
That's crazy.
I was like, wait. I went and got my cover.
That's what the guy is.
Gene Griffin, Teddy Riley. That's that Gene Griffin? And then I was like, what? How is this possible? So I called him back. And he's like, Dallas, it's Gene. And I'm like, he said, man, they say you said, well, yeah, I got Teddy, I got Guy, that's me with them. That's the one I need to come see you, I need to come talk to you, I need to come in. I'm just like
That's
on cloud nine.
crazy.
I'm like, that's the same Gene Griffin?
Can you sign?
So then
Can you sign?
no, take it. He comes to Atlanta. He comes out of Atlanta. Because remember, at one point, all of them moved down here. They had the black M5s everywhere, the BMWs everywhere. He comes to Atlanta, and I remember I had a black BMW, and he paid for the car to be kitted and put the rims on it. It was like a black convertible BMW.
Wow.
But
At G's, did you take it to G?
But G did do it.
G's rim shop?
G did do it.
Wow.
Absolutely. Come on, man.
So
We're in Atlanta now.
when I pulled back up to the studio, because I got the car from doing Troop,
Yeah.
right, with
Okay.
Joyce,
Fair.
right? That was in my Troop deal.
yeah.
Give me this car. So I got a brand new BMW convertible, and he put the kit on it and the rims on it. And then from that point, she was like, okay. She would show up every day to Bobby's studio now, to Stink On You Now, with a pistol in the session.
Oh, she was dope. She was.
She's like, I know Gene. He coming for me. She's like, because I know that I'm not, because all of them come from that old school of Busby and Gene, and like when Gene got out of jail, first thing he did was go see Andre, because Andre had Guy, and when he went to jail, he had Kids at Work, which was
'Cause
Teddy's
Teddy-
group,
Kids at-
right?
yeah.
Teddy. So when he got out, Andre had Guy.
And it's so funny to hear Teddy say that the reason why Gene was even back in the mix, because Gene
Timmy
went
brought
away.
him back around.
Timmy was the one that
Timmy
brought him back. Like,
Yeah,
and
Timmy
then-
Gallon,
And
yeah.
then Timmy and Gene fall out.
They fall out. Yep.
And then Timmy's out of the group.
And then it was the rest. R.I.P. to Andre Harrell.
Yeah.
We love Andre, but he would tell this story funny as on the way. He'd be like, "Man, I was sitting in my office, and Gene, get the call from Gene coming to the office, and at that time I got popping. I'm like, they grooved me, and he said, man, dude walked to the office, said, I need my group. He said, what? He said, nah, I'm good. They my group. He said, what you say? He said, man, before I knew it, he done picked me up and threw me across that room. He said, pick me up on my joint. I'm flying across the room. He said, whoa. He said, hold on. He said, then he got Busby on the phone. He said, Busby, okay, put me on speakerphone. He said, all right, what you gotta do is, Gene, let Guy stay with Andre.
Yeah.
Because that's the group, he has the label, whatever. You take Teddy, and you guys go ahead and do what you're doing. So that's how he took Teddy, and they start producing everything, and they kept Guy on Uptown. But like that era was just like, to me, that's when sparks start flying everywhere. Because I'm like, okay, you can take these samples, and you can take old hip hop music, and then you can write new songs on top of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay,
Like write songs on top. Not rap. We're not
rapping. Because remember in New York, when they first started doing like the Marys and stuff, we was like, are they out of key?
Yeah.
They're not writing the song in the same key as the drums, right?
Exactly.
But that became the art of making hip hop R&B was like, okay, make this beat right here, and then make a song that has nothing to do with it,
Yep.
right? And then we put those two things together, it became like Mary's Records, or it became like
Jodeci
the
records.
Jodeci Records, or even the TLC, or We Needed to Come and Talk to Me remixes and stuff. It was like,
Yeah, to Come and Talk to Me remix is crazy when you hear the story of how, my man who was doing the mixtapes.
so wait, let me ask you this. So when you were in Houston, right, you had already did records and stuff way before you got out here though, right?
Yeah, so the only thing I did before I got out here was I did a remix with Sam Salter. Right, a song called It's Getting Late. What happened was the song what was song After 12 Before 6.
Yeah.
Whatever that song was, right? So I'm sorry, It's On Tonight. It's On Tonight song. That's what it was.
Okay.
And so we had did a song. I was with my boy Greg Curtis. Scooby got arrested dead.
Yeah.
And a guy named Teron Mitchell. We did a bunch of demos. And Greg had went to LA and was like shopping the demos. He moved to LA with his family. It was just, he got a publisher deal with Hollywood Records and was kind of like moving demos around. You know what I'm saying?
Hollywood.
And, I know, right? And this demo caught Mark and Tricky's attention. And they ended up buying it. And they used it as one of Sam Salter's remix. That was one of the first things that I did professionally that like came out right when I decided to move to Atlanta. Before that, I was working with, of course, the Beyonce and them. I came up with them. We were on a group together. Me, Beyonce, Kelly, LaToya, and Latasha grew up together. So
When they were the Dolls?
yeah. And so you understand, I would hear them. They would tell me about when they would come to Atlanta and work with Daryl.
Yeah.
Then when they got signed to Dwayne, Wiggins. They would go to Oakland and work with Dwayne, and like I knew all of that.
That's
Like,
crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So, I was plugged into what was happening at the crib, you know, in some kind of way, because I was friends with all these people. We were all friends. You know, we all grouped together. We were all kids, you know, and we were all doing this, you know, these competitions around town, and that's how we all became like close.
That's amazing. I used to ask Quincy that story because he's always telling you stories about, man, me and Ray was doing this, or me and Duke was doing that,
Yeah.
and me and this person was doing this. And I
Me and
said, well,
Frank.
I'm like, how? How were you around all these things?
Yeah.
How? And then he told me, well, you're doing the same thing. You're just not recognizing it that way.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, okay, I guess so. You start looking, oh, yeah, me and Jazzy been friends this long. Me and Jazzy used to go to Jack the Rapper. Me and Jay. So it is all about, when you look at it, same thing with you in Houston like that, isn't it? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Here
You
in
think about
Atlanta.
even like you say, like Chris Dave, who went to my high school, and then he went off to go play with Mint Condition, and then he would bring us the rehearsal tapes.
Damn.
You know, and that's how we heard, like, with Definition of a Band, how we heard that album before it came out, before it was mixed or sequenced, because he needed to rehearse. So he would bring the tape back, and then we'd be like, yo, I'm gonna dub the tape. And so it became this folklore around the crib. Everybody had like this bootleg tape of a Mint Condition album. You know what I'm saying?
They're still on drums.
But no, it's Chris Davis
Chris
playing
Dave,
drums.
okay, so they
He
brought Chris
joined the
Dave
band.
in to join the band.
He joined the
okay.
band, and Stokely became the front man.
I was about to say, because Stokely was the original drummer of the group, right?
So Definition of a Band is their third album.
Okay.
No, the second album.
Second album.
No, third album. Third album. But the first album is Pretty Brown Eyes. Second album is Straight from the Mint Factory. The third album is Definition of a Band.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they brought him in on the third album. He played on the second album too, but he wasn't a part of the band.
Got it.
He became a member of the band on the third album, and that's when we would come back home with the tape, rehearse. And so these are people that we were in direct proximity of, and that's where we would get this inspiration from. The way that you guys talk about Atlanta, the Chris Daves of the world, the Jason Morans of the world, even Robert Glasper, Beyonce and LaToya and Latavia.
Then Chris Dave out here playing Pretty Brown Eyes. This nigga out here, he out here. Bum, bum. Bum, bum.
Yeah. So now in Atlanta, so talk about, I want to ask you about like LA and Face and making TLC. Like, 'cause we're talking about, you know, the culture and, you know, different labels and then, but I'm thinking about Atlanta and like how you said, you know, Clarence told you guys are doing the same, or Quincy told you you're doing the same thing, you just don't know it, right?
Yeah.
But, so now LA and Babyface, they come to Atlanta and TLC. Because they have the label with TLC, but TLC is these girls you grew up with. These are these are your homies. Like, so how does that go from, we're all growing up together?
I mean, I think it goes back, starting probably back at the skating rink again.
Okay.
Just because me and Tion started being friends at the skating rink, and then her and JD, and I wish I could find this picture of this video, but it's one of me and T-Boz and JD. I don't even think we had TLC then. But we got pouring 40s out. We got a little gold chains on, because we was all like down. We go over our house and hang out like on a Friday because we too young to go do anything else, right? But when LA and Face came to town, and remember they started out, they had like Damian Dame, they had like
that was the first release on
Jermaine Jackson.
Jermaine Jackson and Damian Davis.
Was it Jermaine or Damian?
It was
Jermaine was the first LA
Jermaine
Face?
Jackson was first.
Yeah.
Okay, then Damian.
We had the
Dame.
word to the bag. Word to the bag.
bag.
You don't care. I don't care.
Jeez.
Word to the bag.
I was like, they were bold.
To his
I
brother.
was like, that's some bullshit.
That's some bullshit.
Especially at that time. But word to the bag was their first. I mean, they had Jermaine Jackson, then they had Damian Dame, and then what was funny is they had Divine at 90 miles per hour.
Divine was signed. He was on his
Wow,
So
that's
Divine
right.
was signed
No,
before
seriously, I
everybody.
know
They said Divine was the first artist.
He was the
was
first
their first
real
artist.
face like artist. And
Shout out to Devon Stevens.
it was not playing Divine at Night. It wasn't playing. Me and D joke about this all the time because he said LA when it came down, niggas just got gas. They had the 190, the champagne color 190s, the woolly wear. They used to wear the clothes like LA and face. They wore the thing. And then Divine didn't would talk to nobody. He'd be like this. But they were like, I had Boyz II Men singing Divine's backgrounds.
Wow.
Then, because he was like, they had him set off to be like the next. So, Hammer and everything was out there. So
Yeah,
everybody was
that's
looking at people that can dance and be an entertainer.
That's right.
Yeah.
So he was first. And then it wasn't until they started settling into Atlanta to saw what we were doing. Because still, like, with the things they were coming from LA, so they still had their stylists and this, the way that they did stuff. So they started looking at how we were doing stuff here, like dressing people and making music and all that. And it was like, hold on, they got something, y'all doing different stuff down here. And so when they started kind of dabbling in Atlanta, that's how they were starting with Rico, and they're starting with, before they were called, what they called the rap group before, it was KP's group. PA.
Current advisory.
Yeah.
So they started dabbling in stuff and trying to get a hold to what was going on in Atlanta, because I remember the first time I went to LA's house, I think Playground or something came on the radio, and he's like, "Is this you too?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, because they had played Motown Philly summer before that. And he goes, "This you too?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, what are y'all doing down here?" So he got closer to us. Face wasn't really as close to anybody at first. It was like LA, because he was trying to make sure that the label was connected to people who was doing stuff. You know what I'm saying? So we would go to LA's house. We would do production. I'd give him all my drum sounds. Give him all, like,
Because he was still producing.
He was still producing, yeah.
He was still producing.
And we're just happy to be in the graces of them, We never seen nothing like it in Atlanta. Like, we never seen Range Rovers before they came into town.
Right.
Like,
That's crazy.
Right.
Atlanta's like...
So it's safe to say LA and Babyface brought the economic infrastructure. When I think of Atlanta, I think a little bit before that, what did Larry Blackman bring?
I mean, Cameo had, you had Atlanta Artists, another label that was out.
That was like in the early 80s.
In Atlanta Rhythm section. So it was music and the SOS Band and stuff kind of going around here. But Cameo was probably the first staple around here, where Larry probably was really a staple in Atlanta. Probably had a label and had this stuff, But it wasn't like what Prince was doing, where he was signing a whole bunch of acts that sounded like Cameo.
Yeah.
Or like, of creating a thing for Atlanta. It was really about them. So when LA came, he was able to, in Atlanta, like, it's always had its own bubble. And he was able to, like, get a peek of that bubble and then connect it to California and be like, oh, now if you take this out of here, and that's the same thing he saw, Gerald do that with ABC. So he was kind of like, okay, there's something going on down there.
I get it.
And he bought when he put LaFace here, it was the first time, and probably, like, I don't think anything felt that way to this day, because everybody has their, QC has an office, or this person has an office, so, its office is here. But the LaFace office felt like a record company was in Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
It felt like Motown hit Atlanta. It felt like
Sony. It felt like Columbia.
It felt like Sony hit Atlanta. It didn't feel like a boutique production company. It felt like a label was there and anybody had the chance to get signed.
Yeah, they was in the Blue Cross Blue Shield building.
Yeah.
You get off.
You gotta go to Buckhead. You got
the TV.
That shit felt like boomerang.
They had a Bentley downstairs. Range Rovers. It felt like the success was in that building.
Yes. Yes, you did.
And because of all the success they had as writers and producers anyway, it was connected to LaFace. So, like, that meant everything that they had ever done. It wasn't just them coming to town to sign new artists. It was like, look at these heroes, look at these super producers coming in now and giving everybody an outlet. And it was just that, we would go up in there all the time because obviously working there, my Rowdy office was there. But we would go up to LaFace. You go up in there, you go by Charlotte's office, you go see what LA doing, so... And you don't really have that kind of experience like that. I did it with Gerald, and it was the first time of being in Atlanta, and they really, by the time we got to the girls, he really kind of sunken into the city and saw kind of what was going on. And so, the first time I had a meeting with them, he was like, "We're gonna sign this girls group, and I want you to come check them out." And I didn't know who he was talking about at all. So I go to the meeting, and I see it on the Tia, and I'm like, "You in the group?" And so it was like, and I was like, "Okay, cool, I get it." And so LA goes, and after we have the meeting with them, he said, "So can you do with them what you did with the other groups?" And I'm like, yeah. So now we in the Range Rover, we left the lunch or whatever, man. I'm sitting there, and it's like one of those characters on the streets that's like turning turning the cardboard arrows or whatever. And had his, colors on and all this stuff. And then he said, well, what do you think they should, now that because this was, still TLC at first wasn't TLC that showed up on Ain't Too Proud to Beg. Because Rosario wasn't coming out of tight dresses and, it just, you had to get to that point. So initially that's not exactly how they were.
Okay.
But he's like, what do you think they should be like? And when I saw that dude talk, I said, they should be like that. It got to be colorful. They got to get the attention. They got to be like the girl version of what we've done with ABC or BBD. But we got to push it one step further. So Lisa was really the one. But Tiana was already like that because Tiana was always going to wear hats low. She's already tomboyish and whatever. Yeah. But Lisa was really want to start coming in and like turning up the volume on, with the hats and the, doing the whole, the paddy wagon and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And Rosanna was the last one to get acclimated because she was the girl of the group, so she wasn't trying to come out of dresses and be baggy clothes. She was just like, wasn't a thing. So by the time and Tiana Tay, she's always saying, I want to get with you from Teddy Riley. I want to get with you. That was her go-to.
That sounded like something she would do.
And so LA finally got them together, and then they did I Want to Get With You for me out of LA's house as the three of them because I hadn't really seen them perform together, whatever. And then I was like, oh, I got it. I'm like, shit, she's going to be Prince and Teddy. She's going to be like one of Vanity Six, and then she's going to be the rapper with Money Love. I get it. Let's do it. And so we just kind of dove in and went to that studio and started kind of living each other. We hung out like all the time, like 24/7, either staying at my house or getting back up to go back to the studio. Everybody's friends was everybody's friends. So we all grew kind of as a unit. And to me, that's how you captured moments, not records, but we captured every moment we was doing. So if it was Ain't Too Proud to Beg, or if it was Hat to the Back, or we just kept being excited about, let me make a song out of this because this is what we're doing now. And it's when you think of it that way, it's a lead into records being different. Like it's probably never been a record titled Hat to the Back again, or like you just kind of come in with these phrases because of what everybody's doing. And I remember when LA first came and heard Ain't Too Proud to Beg and Hat to the Back, they were just like, what is this? I was like, that's what you asked me to do. So we turned him into them. He was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
This is incredible. Keep going.
Wow.
And it wasn't until the day when, so we was in the studio every day doing records, doing, History Over Mine and all these songs. And then went to the day that Pebbles came in and came and was telling Rosanna to come out of the booth because she didn't think the songs was being sung right or something like that. And Pebbles goes in to sing the part. So it kicks her into this whole thing, psychologically, maybe I'm not singing right or good enough because Pebbles came in to sing my parts or whatever. And everything started to get a little weird between them, kind of the ending of that album. And so that's when I did What About Your Friends? And and so everything that was happening, it was like, I always say a song is a recording of an event that just happened to you. So
Wow.
Say
that's
that
why
again, a song?
It's a recording of an event that just happened to you. That's why they call it a record, right?
Wow.
So
on the record, yeah.
Bars. It's keeping records on the event that just happened to you. So that's why with blues, like my baby just left me. I love it. They're telling you a story of what just happened, and those are where the best songs come from.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's hard for people to want to discuss that because it's right there in your heart for real, right?
Yeah.
So we would just make songs out of what just happened, kind of like what was going. We talk about what was going on and make it. And then I knew that once we finished the first album, because of the way it sounded and the way we put all the stuff together, I knew what they were going to do. I knew we had already proven it with the. It's always those formulas. You say, okay, you got the girls version, you got the boys version, you got the group version, you got the single version of this. So that was kind of happening in that time. And when they first took off, we used to get in so much trouble. Like the radio station wouldn't play them. Too much noise. It's like it's too much noise. It sounds like rap music. It sounds like Hank Shocklee and them. Cause
I'm telling you. When you said that, I was like, when you told me that, I was like, it is Bomb Squad.
It's Bomb Squad with songs on it, man. I was like, and then so that's why they had to go with the video first. Because radio was like, we're not playing this. Plus it said Ain't Too Proud to Beg. It was like 2 inches all yard, rock hard if it's sagging. Yeah. It was like, we're not playing that. And so then LA them regrouped. They was like, then what do we do? Radio said no. And then I think it was Lamont Bowles who worked at LaFayette, like, put the video out first. Because they see him. then you'll start to get the attention, and they're gonna wonder what that is. And that's what really took off. It's like, yo, mic check 1 2 1 2. You see her come on with the hat.
Exactly.
That's when it really started
Had the condom in the
With the eyeglasses.
And Mike Bivens had named the left eye.
Wow.
Wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know that name came from Biv.
Biv named the left eye. So
Wow.
he always say a little eye, left eye twinkle, like was like something. He's like, so he called it left eye. He started calling it left eye before we even.
Wow.
Wait a minute. He saw her left eye do what?
It's like it was smaller, twitching
twitch,
or something. Yeah, like it was smaller. So he started calling it left eye.
That's fucked up. I mean, it worked out.
It worked out.
But it's like,
That's like
But you know, Michael's
cleft
always.
palate. Hold on, wait a minute. But it's like he took a small slight.
So you know how he's always, but Michael is always finding the mental in everything. Is how he called it.
Mental.
That's mental.
Mental.
Yeah,
That's mental.
that's
Yeah.
mental. Like
Yeah.
so, that was his whole. That was him being able to find the difference in whatever he was seeing, and they ran it through a whole. I mean, he made a whole culture out of it.
oh yeah, he did.
Because even when Poison came out, you first listened to it from our standpoint on how you felt about the first time you heard it, and it was coming from listening to New Edition and stuff. You kind of like going, is he singing off? Like, is that
Oh
in
yeah,
key?
yeah.
Like,
Especially when like it starts out with Ronnie. Yeah, my mind.
And then I
Like,
remember,
what is-
then I remember adapting to it. I remember being around Michael and him enough to where I was like, oh, I get it. It's not supposed to be this way. It's not. It's the imperfection that's making it street, and that's making it, be the way that it is. And at that point, I feel like the era just kind of like just blew open from the girls and you had the SWVs, and you started having like, and I think from TLC standpoint, because of T-Boz being so like, I don't like no bitches kind of standpoint, so she had to be written to from a guy standpoint, and that's what really made her cool because I'm writing a record for a guy, for a girl.
Yes.
With a guy's perspective on how she would deal with stuff or how she would be about it. And that created her character in a way. Well, it pulled out of her, but, it still created the character of what she would be. And she'd be in the studio and she wouldn't sing a record even if I didn't do it or if it didn't come from that perception. Mm-hmm. Because if somebody would try, like, Hit Me Baby One More Time was a TLC record.
I remember.
They didn't want to take it because it was like, that's a version of what you're doing. And that, that sounds like a cheap version of what we're trying to do, and that's for pop people and white people.
Yeah.
So, but that's why she's saying, "Oh, baby, baby, why was I supposed to know?" Right?
Because he was trying to get that
Yeah.
flavor. So I want to ask you about, because that leads me right into a question I wanted to ask you about a particular record, that Tion really shined on. But you touched on something about the imperfections, I remember working on the TV show Star, and Lee Daniels was a big, he's like, I want the grit. He had a saying, I'm looking for the perfection inside of the imperfection.
Right. Yep.
That's what I want. That, like, if you go back and listen to some of these, we had Leslie on.
Yeah.
And he talked about listening to certain records and if it's a feeling, Bob Marley might not have always hit that note right, or you listen to Otis Redding, and it might have been a little under, but the feeling was so there.
Yep.
We're not gonna go back and tell him to do that again.
We got it.
There is perfection
Inside.
in imperfection. What's Adderley, who tells the great story of Never Too Much.
Yeah.
The intro to Never Too Much for the Vandross was a
Marcus
mistake.
Miller. Marcus Miller is, 19 years old. 19 years old. They rehearsed twice, right? They go to record. Dun, dun, dun. Boom! That wasn't supposed to be on there.
Oh.
So now Adam looks at Marcus like, yo, what motherfucker, I didn't say that. And it ended up not only staying on the record, but like the most part.
See, that's again back to recording that event. It's the most special things.
Yeah.
And all of us being songwriters and producers and, the way that Beatcox plays and everything else, there's still only so many notes to play.
12 notes, man.
So
Yep.
the magic is that all of this music that we hear all over the world is only made in between those 12 notes. And that's crazy. And the melodies have to find their way between these notes. And it's almost like food in a sense. Like you think, I done ate sushi once, I done ate this kind of food once. But then some way somebody's gonna do it to be different, right?
Yeah.
And the magic and stuff like just the boom, or just George Clinton doing Atomic Dog by accident, or like, you can't. You have certain songs you write as songs like just like. No, that's a song we know it's a love song, whatever. But then you have special moments and things that just won't happen again.
You know what's so interesting too? You brought up George Clinton and Atomic Dog specifically. That song, knowing the story behind that song, him telling the story on Tales from the
Crib, Tales from the
Tour, whatever tour
yeah,
bus.
Yeah.
It also lets you know how smart he was, because the vocabulary in that song is like, wait, you was high on crack.
And you ran to the
And
studio
you were
in the snow.
saying words like Anatomic Dog in a Terramatic Society, ain't your average Huckleberry Hound. What are you talking? But the fact the vocabulary, like
it's the crack.
like, you know what I'm saying?
No, you know what it was?
Clinton story that involves crack.
You know what it was? No. It wasn't the crack talk. It was the acid. So if you remember in the beginning of the Tales from Tour Bus, Timothy, when they first invented acid, they gave it to Funkadelic to try.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
They were the first test. When
They were the first people to do acid.
And he told you on the thing, he said, shit, I don't think I ever came back yet.
Never came back.
A lot of
it got to the point. The reason why they graduated to drugs was because he had gotten so accustomed to the acid. He might still be high on acid. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but the things that he remembers and the way that he's prolific on that stuff, and even like that whole intelligence that he still has to this day when I talk to him, he remembers specifics about stuff that happened so long ago that he's just like, this is insane. But his influence on music, period, because when we first started DARP, I had the best crew of people in that studio. It was insane. I don't even know how, like, that's another magic moment, because there's Eric Sermon, there's Busta Rhymes, because Busta got to deal with us, and Eric's got to deal with us. There's Outkast, there's Too Short, right? There's Akon, there's George Clinton, and then there's Goody Mob. And we all just sat in that lounge.
that is such a crazy...
And then you have creatives like Tim and Bob.
Yeah,
Carlos and Dada,
Mario, and everybody just walking in and out of rooms, and Pharrell and them have a room on the other side. I didn't even know the Neptunes would be in there.
Yeah.
And it was just this crazy conglomerate of like people, and we would sit in this lounge, and whoever's in that lounge firing off in a conversation like this, whoever would walk by would just join up in it, and you'll hear George talk about spaceships or the New World Order or like things that we've seen come to pass right now, since those conversations, right? Like, for instance, I'll give you a great one. It was flooding at that one point in the United States, right? And George had told us before this, he goes, man, it's going to start flooding all over the place because they got these weather machines, right? Now, this is, we don't know, was the acid talking or the crack talking? But I'll tell you,
he could have been right.
No, he was right, 100%. Right. So what happens is, he was telling us in one of these forums, he goes, for one, he told us about the check's gonna go away and you're gonna have one card that does everything. Then he said, because that way they're gonna know what you buy, where you are, where you da. Then he goes, they got these weather machines that's controlling the weather, and it's gonna flood in places you've never seen it flood before because they're gonna rain them out. So us being in the conversation like this, we go, why would they do that? He goes, cause.
I'm glad you asked.
You don't have flood insurance in your house. Nobody does, because it doesn't flood. And the only people that can save you from that is FEMA. And I said, so what is FEMA? He said, the Federal Emergency Management Association. He said, you're going to see commercials come on TV and be like, we're FEMA, we can save you. So we was like, okay, cool, the weather machines a little bit much, maybe. Maybe. Give it a year.
Shit.
All of a sudden, they're rowboating by the top of their houses in fucking the Midwest. You seen the peaks of the houses like this. They're rowboating in boats by the tops of their houses to show you how much water it is, right? And what commercial comes on TV?
FEMA.
You don't have flood insurance in your home. We're FEMA. We can offer you flood insurance. So that's when I really started being like, okay, how is he connected to the government? How does he know this stuff? Because everything he said, it's going to be a commercial one day where it's going to be an oil spill, right? And he said, and you're going to see a little duck going into the water. He said, now who's doing the duck like this to push the duck into the water where the oil is? He said, oh, set up, man. What, didn't have an oil spill happen? You see the Dawn commercial with the little duck? Talking, we can clean the duck. So everything that he's told us, he's told me plenty of wild stories, but like, everything.
So George Clinton is the Manchurian candidate, basically.
He is real, bro. Like, when I say real, the first concert I ever saw was the Mothership Landing, right?
Yeah.
And I asked my mother, I kept telling her that the roof was gonna open up and the ship's gonna land, so I gotta go see the show. And she's like, Dallas, I promise you, like, I don't wanna break your heart. I'm pretty sure that roof ain't opening and a spaceship won't come in there. I said, Mom, you look at the commercials on TV. You see it, the ship's coming up, the roof opens up, because it's coming to the Omni in Atlanta, right? And so she's like, look, go to the concert. I just don't want you to be disappointed, right? I got to be 7 or 8 years old, right? I go to the concert with my aunt. You know, they had the little suede wine pouches they used to carry around, right? Everybody in the whole concert smoking weed and stuff. So I'm in the concert just like doing the full-on thing. And I knew that when he started playing that swaying down these chairs, I knew that the mothership was going to be coming in, right? So he started playing it, and I'm like getting hyped. I'm getting hyped. Now, what happens is the ship comes from the back over you, right? That flies over the audience. Boom. And what you don't realize is that it's a black curtain on the stage with the big ship. So it flies into the black curtain and boom, and all of a sudden the smoke is all over the stage and the big ship appears on the stage. So you couldn't tell me that the ship didn't land because there's George coming down like this. The ship comes down. He comes up and he comes out with the Dr. Funkenstein outfit on and the big hip hat, right?
Oh, wow.
So
wow.
that was my first concert. And then I would see him eat at my mom's restaurant. So by the time he came and started working out of my studio, it was just like a full circle.
That's so crazy.
Full circle trip, you know what I mean? To be able to work. That's one of the things, and I don't know about you yourself or you too, but being able to work with people you grew up on is a trip.
Oh yeah.
It is. For me, I think my biggest one was Lionel Richie when we got a chance to work with Lionel.
I'm gonna tell you, when we was at Doppler, Lionel and Chucky was there.
Yeah.
Like those moments of being able to just like talk to Lionel about just everything. And Lionel will talk to you.
Lionel is funny. Lionel Richie is one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Full of stories.
He told me this story. He said, man, I was in the Commodores, we wrote all these hit records and stuff. And he goes, so everybody getting their checks. Everybody's like getting their new cars, Jaguars. So my man, you get your check for $200,000. I got my new car. He said, man, how my check ain't come in? I'm the one doing everything, So he goes, my mom said, man, I went by the bank yesterday. They was treating me really nice for some reason.
Yeah.
So his dad ain't saying nothing. Dad's still reading the paper. So he goes, Mom, did you see a check of mine? She said, no.
Because he's Lionel Richie Jr.
He's Lionel Richie Jr. So he goes, Dad, did you see a check that came from me? He said, well, I saw a check that came from me. It said Lionel Richie. It's like $2 million.
$2 million.
I took that and put it in the bank. He said, what? He said, yeah, I'm Lionel Richie. You Lionel Richie Jr.
Oh, wow.
So
That's hilarious.
They had to fix that shit.
Yeah, the fix it.
Lionel Richie Jr.
Yeah, but yeah, he's
He dollar billed him. He did the dollar. you ain't nothing. You don't deserve nothing. You don't get nothing. But I do want to ask. So we were talking about Tion.
Yeah.
Obviously the Ooh on the TLC tip comes out. Album blows.
Yeah.
Was at the time I think 3 or 4 million. Now I'm sure it's much more. But then the Crazy Sexy Cool era comes along. And the first single, I remember I was living in New York with my brother and fucking Creep. We hear it on the radio and we're like, oh my God, what is this? Like, it was sexy, it was all of those, but it does make sense. But now I want to ask about that record. Were you writing from a male perspective? Because Tion is really singing from some male shit.
She's singing from my standpoint.
If he knew the things I did, he couldn't handle it.
Yeah, that's horrible.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
You know what they,
oh, damn.
No, but this, I told this story before, but I could safely tell it now. But, me and Kim Porter was dating at the time, and rest in peace to her. I've been knowing her all my life. She's one of my best friends. And we always said we wouldn't date because we mess up our friendship.
Yeah.
And so, but at that moment, it just started happening. We started dating, and, she moved to Atlanta, and then now we're a couple. And then, fast forward a couple of years, I had like tax problems going on. Something was going crazy in my life. And I was down the street at DARP at the studio. But then I was just being me and being like, how you get when everything start hitting on you. You start being like, well, guess I go fuck around over here and drink over here. I don't want to go home
I'm
with
about to
this
go
shit.
buy. I'm about to go figure
I'm
something
going
out.
to strip clubs.
I guess I'll go.
I guess I'll get a car somewhere.
I guess I'll go over down the hill.
But I knew I was like messing up. You know what I'm saying? I knew I hadn't been at the house. She's staying right at Castleberry in the loft, and I'm like down there, and I was just like, and there was other stuff going on where your mind started playing tricks on you, and then it's like, I don't know, she messing with Jodeci. I don't know. It was just a mess, right? But you kind of lose sight of who's really there for you when times are crazy, right? So I had a friend of mine who stayed under her at another apartment. I mean, under another loft, and he worked at my store, my Rowdy store, with me.
Yeah.
So I would go and take poems of his sometimes and make beats to his poems, right? Just being creative, doing graffiti, whatever he was doing. And so I go down one day and he's in the shower, getting ready to roll, and I'm like looking through the poem book, and I hear him talking about how like, she walks and the noise she makes, I can hear the rooms and da 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 da, and like, and then we made love and da da da. Like, huh? Wait, is this my girl? I'm like, huh? So I keep looking, and I'm like, is this Kim? And so I'm like, this got to be her you talking about, Now, obviously, that faster when you ain't been around. And so when I confront him about it, he's like, no, 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 no. I'm like, nah, so I go to her. I'm like, I've read this poem. And boom, 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 boom. She looked at me, she's like, I'll never forget this. She said, man, Dallas Austin, if you could fuck over me, another motherfucker can get a fuck about me. I've been knowing you all my life. We're friends first. And I said, yeah, you're right. And then she was like, well, what am I supposed to do? You're not here. I'm not getting no attention. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. She was like, and we made a pact as friends that, if this didn't work, that I would put her back in New York. And that I would take care of whatever because, I disrupted her life being up there and brought her here and whatever else. And like I said, we've been friends since kindergarten. And all I could be like is, you're right. You're right. You're right. And so I ended up moving her, getting her stuff situated, getting her back to move back to New York. And then I wrote the song. I was just like,
wow. Wow.
So the reason I write so many songs, in a sense, for women too, a lot of times is because I was able to self-reflect on what the shit I did to them and get it back from what they said, how they felt about it. Because a lot of times as a dude, when you're young, especially when you got something like music as your passion, everything else is second or third there.
Everything.
You don't think about what a girl could be in love with you. You be like, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, good.
It's my music, baby.
It's my music.
Yeah.
Music is jealous. It takes up the space of everything, and you really don't know what you're doing with anything else when you, especially in that era, because this is when your stride is on. You made some mistakes. You got business now. You're bigger than you were before, so you got problems to deal with that you didn't have before, and so it was just all a part of that. And and most of the songs that one, Just Like a Pill. All these records are like songs that either somewhere in there I found myself in or some situation I went through that I had to like flip it and like this is how the girl felt about it.
Did you stay friends with the guy who lived underneath you?
I did for a few. I did. Cause at that point, it wasn't like she was trying to be with him, and I understood that.
Wow.
She was like, I'm trying to get. She said, I'm gonna go to New York, find some dudes with some money. I'm going to work. Cause I ain't really gonna play that. If you're gonna be like that with me, then I gotta steal my P's and Q's because me and you friends. And so like I know that. And so she went to New York, started getting it up, hustling, smiling, meeting. She was meeting up there, and then I made the song and kind of. And I don't think I ever told her until like later, way later. I don't know if she, because it's hard for you to hear records. Sometimes, like when the person knows a song is about them, that's almost the worst thing you can do to them sometimes because they got to hear it all over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hope that it's good, but you may get.
You don't want to hear
gone.
it.
You may get a get gone that we, she got to miss you for a leader. She did. But she got to get gone. Yeah. You're welcome. But
see, what happens too, man, is when you stop having an environment to write from, like when you take a group, I think it happens a lot when a group just grows up, right? Because they're doing stuff and they're acceptable to stuff that they're doing at the time, right? But when you get to a certain point, those things you're not doing no more. So the stories sound a little different. What you're talking about sound different. What you're interested in might not be interesting. You might even be interested in doing it because you know, your life has changed, and what you're really capturing is life stories. So all we're selling every day is the ability for somebody else to say, "That's me too." Like, that's how I feel. Or, damn, man, you know. And we could take it. We could look at it from a different point, from songwriter standpoint, because it's what we do. But very rarely you get to feel what that feels like on the other side, because this is something we've always been passionate about and done. But imagine somebody who doesn't do this at all whatsoever.
Exactly.
But you're speaking to them.
You're speaking to them.
You're speaking to
the music
them,
that
and they
you're
need
making.
affirmations. They need confirmations. They need
Yeah.
things that, oh, you can't eat too because you broke up with her. That's how you feel.
Yeah.
You sick too. Okay, I feel right. That's right. Like, so we're really, and that's what's the weird thing about songs, and the magic to me about being a producer and a writer. It's one of the most magical gifts you could have, because I mean, it's just like everything else. Like, you don't target, like, you never know what's going to be a hit or not, or sometimes you don't even care no more. You just do what you do, kind of thing. But the ability to take something from nothing out of the air and turn it into something, and then so people can then reflect on it, or listen to it, or sing along to it, or say, "That's me." It's like a magician in a way, because again, you always have those 12 little notes.
Yeah.
And then you got to figure out lyrically, melodically, connected wise, all that. And the people that miss the mark sometimes get lucky, but the people that are always hit the mark are always telling you about the experiences they just went through. And that's why sometimes in country you could come in at 50 years old and be a new star.
True.
It's the stories.
It's the stories. It has nothing to do with, you know, I would always say in pop music and in our music, the UK always looks at music different because they don't really have the fad that attaches to it. We're fad driven first. Like, what are they wearing? What do they look like? What's the style? What's the this? How are they going to be an icon, right? And I used to tell Barry Weiss, I said, man, you ever notice, like, while we're here arguing over this little roster or whatever is going on, and y'all talking back and forth about what singles should be, you would have never signed Adele, because you would have said at that point that she was too big.
Off rip.
You would have never signed Sam Smith. You would say he's too gay.
Too gay, yeah.
You would have never signed Ed Sheeran. You would say, oh, his hair's red or he's cross. You'd found every reason except for the talent that they have to sign them. And the UK, when you look at all their artists, they're just purely singing a great song or not. And they just, like, for years, every year, kick our ass and all kinds of stuff, and Grammys and things when you look at it, because those songs don't really have a trend to them. They just have, like, that person's emotions connected to it. And there's very few, even now, if you look at the States, that's why, you know, even with the Money Long record, it was such a big phenomenon. And I remember telling JD, when I very time first heard the song, I was like, damn, so you know this record's going to be insanely huge, right? He goes, this one, you think so? Yeah. You know why? Because ain't nobody saying that. They are saying everything except for Nobody Loves Me Like You Do. Ain't that crazy? Like, all those records, every record used to say that we was coming up with a love song.
Every
right?
record said that back
Every
then.
record was like that. But simply that record was the only record that said you made for me and nobody loves me like you do, and then singing positive. It's the only record that was doing it, period. Of course it's a phenomenon.
Wow.
It cuts through.
It cuts through because that's what they need to hear.
Yeah.
Everything else is either negative or either hip hop music or like stuff that's like, you know, you got the sexy reds and stuff, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But that's for that. But over here,
Right.
that
It's
one
a whole-
emotion
yeah.
that everybody needs to hear all day long is I love
Nobody's
you.
doing it. You know what's interesting though? Like, so even as a songwriter, right? Because you're one of our greats, and a lot of times people, songwriter, producers, the natural progression is to start a label, to get an artist, to develop artists, right? Let's dive into Rowdy Records. I know we've had a conversation about it, several conversations about Rowdy. And just so correct me if I'm wrong, Rowdy started out as a subsidiary of LaFace.
Yeah.
Was you and LA the partners in Rowdy?
Yeah, it was supposed to be LA. It was supposed to be LaFace's rap division.
Outkast was supposed to be on Rowdy Records.
Supposed to be on Rowdy. And
Did not know that.
Yes.
yeah, because I didn't want to. I didn't want a label. I was running around. I was at Masquerade, stage diving, listening to the Chili Peppers, and like I was in my
So
own like.
this is when the Highland Place Mobsters
This was-
happening, or just before that?
This was right after that
Okay.
because you know I was just in the alternative world, and I just wanted to stay there because I just started making money and all that stuff. Had just got freed up from Joyce,
Yeah, from Joyce, yeah.
and so I just didn't want to have anything to do with. I was alternative myself because I really didn't speak a lot back then, and I found comfort in stuff that was kind of more basket cases. So you know, even I would make pop music or make songs for people. The music I listened to wasn't that. I'd be listening to all Tool, you know, Chili Peppers or the Smiths or like just way out other stuff. And that's what's funny is that's what helped me keep the outside perspective a long time on pop music because I wasn't indulged in it. Like now it's weird because if I ask myself, do I listen to music now to be inspired by? Like, there's a lot of music that I hear like when I was coming up and they just kind of just from everything, right? I don't really listen to music that much.
Same.
So when I find something, I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. But the way I was listening to it coming up, just like everything was finding bliss in. It's not really like that as much. So when I started Rowdy, when they first came to me, it was Clive going through LA going, we want to get to Dallas to do a label. Nah, man, not doing a label. I'm too young. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I'm still stage diving over here in Masquerade. I just got enough money to stage dive, not to worry about
Not to worry about shit.
I got DARP. I got my studio now. They had all the graffiti and stuff on the inside. So I was hanging out with skateboard kids and wanted to do alternative music. And they were like, well, if you don't want to do a label to bring all those kids you're hanging around. I said, oh, okay. Well, now that sounds more interesting because in LA, like, we'll run it. All you got to do is sign the acts, produce them, and bring in that element. So that's when I signed Y'all So Stupid and started Rowdy, right?
Yeah.
And then by the time we signed them, LA was like, we need to move this to New York because it's a hip hop label, so we need to have it in New York. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, let's move it to New York. So then we moved to New York. We signed the King and I. Next thing you know, I got 20-something staff members, offices in New York, limo to pick you up every day, get your apartment, doing the whole thing.
The New York executive, New York label owner.
And dude, I was just so like, I was so Atlanta and so like, what's weird is I was Atlanta, but I was still weirdo enough to be like New York. So I stayed all my giant steps and my Scullys and my, all of the alternative skate gear and all that stuff on. But when I would get to New York, I was just shut down. Like my whole thing would just be like soup, right? Because I just couldn't take all of the energy from that. I didn't like all that energy. And so I would just go to my office, open the window and like smoke a joint. And then be in there blowing smoke out the window because I got 20 staff members over there and I'm supposed to be the president.
That's amazing.
And Buster would come up and me and him would get cool because he was Buster, and he was just leaving Leaders of the New School. So we found that place where me and him kind of had our thing. Yeah. And it took Karen Veazey one day, Kim Lumpkin, to come in and be like, yo, you might want to come. Do you like everybody out here? I said, what do you mean? He said, just staff. You got a whole staff out there. Do you like them? He said, you got people on pins and needles when you come to the office, And I was like, really? She was like, yeah, you might want to have a staff meeting. I said, what is that? She said, well, yeah, everybody gets together in the conference room. So I said, all right, cool, let's do it. The first staff meeting I didn't even know, like, I had alternative department, publicity department. I had everything. It was a full-on label that they had set up. And so I'm like, okay, wow. So, okay, cool. So maybe I should be getting into this and started to try to figure my path out through here, And then we had a rock band called Mother Chunka, and that was the same label that had Beck. So I was trying to sign Beck. Clive started giving me a little static about Beck because he's like, oh, white rappers ain't in, And I was like, oh,
wow,
man.
and Beck fucking
It was Loser, the song Loser.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, I was livid after that.
Oh, my God.
I was like, that would have really kicked me off as the alternative label I wanted,
Wow.
But so then but then during that time, while I'm in New York and doing the whole Rowdy Records New York thing, throwing parties or whatever, then he signs Outkast to LaFace. And I'm like, hold on, I'm kind of confused here because this is supposed to be the street division of LaFace. That's why we did it.
Yeah.
Why would he sign Outkast? But really, they rolled off from their Players Ball record. And when he saw Players Ball taking off like that, then he flipped them over to LaFace. Obviously, LaFace had their own budgets and stuff. I mean, their own like debts and stuff they had, you know what I'm saying? So he flipped them over into being LaFace. And I was just like, okay, well, then he was like, I was like, that ain't gonna get it, man. I don't want to do this no more. He said, no, you have it. You should keep Rowdy. It's yours. You have it. I'll sign over my parts to it. You're right. But it should be your thing. Now I've had it for years. So I'm out of the stage of not wanting to do a label because now I've been with a label all this time.
Yeah.
And so the first thing I did was I went to Ariston to say I don't want to do it no more. I just want to go back home and be in Atlanta. It's like, oh no, well take it with you.
Take it with you to Atlanta. Go back.
Take it to Atlanta. We'll wipe the debt. Just start over. Because they didn't want to lose me because that was just the real era of the joint venture. So they got LA Face, they got me, So I ended up giving my office
the profit share, the profit margin. Yeah, you're able to tell the stockholders. You got Dallas Austin. You got to keep him. Wow.
So I ended up giving Puff my office to start Bad Boy. And then I left, came back to Atlanta and opened up Rowdy on Marietta Street. And then I was like, well, damn, now that I'm here, after all that time and all this, I got to find something that's going to that I just know how to do. I can't stay because Rowdy's supposed to be an alternative label. It's meant to be rock and anything that wasn't R&B was the whole purpose of it. I actually had a label called R&B at the time. And all the R&B stuff was going there. And I had Limp where Joy and them was going. So I had 2 or 3 labels going.
Under Rowdy?
No, Rowdy's by itself, and then I had Limp at
label.
EMI, and I had R&B at EMI. And so I was like, okay, well, I put all the R&B stuff on R&B, and then Rowdy will stay crazy. But then when I moved down here, I saw my whole office space and everything else. Like, man, I got to sign what we know how to do. So K. Wells went to the talent show that Ryan Cameron threw, and he saw Monica there.
Wow.
And then he came back to the studio. He's like I got this little girl. We got to sign her. Because I put the word out, well, now that I started over, I can't be different. I guess I need to go to work as a grown-up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then we signed Monica. And I said, well, you know what? Her difference will be that she's from Atlanta. She's from the South Side. We'll keep her street. We'll keep her melodic and all this and stuff.
Backseat of my Jeep.
Yeah.
It's
incredible,
yeah.
And so we signed her. And then everything started going good. I started getting her set up and all this stuff. And then Clive then was like, well, we don't think this is the record. And I'm like, see, this is why I didn't want to do R&B with you. Because we're going to always beg to differ because of the fact that when I make records that I bring to you and you like them, you never have that opinion about them. Like, you just like, okay, great, here they go. Now we're going to be in this situation that we'll label, and you're going to be able to tell me stuff like, I don't think that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to register. I don't think that's it because I don't know what I'm doing anyway, except for doing what I do, right? So now you opening my mind up to what is it or not, which for us, the ignorance is bliss because what you know how to do is this. When you start opening up here, everybody gets to that point. Okay, if it's a sophomore album or triple album, when they say, oh, the label said, how do you do that again? Kind of thing, right? So I was like, I'm out. I don't want to do this. I just got down here, just got her going, everything else was like, cool. He said, I think, no, don't take it personal. It's okay. It'll be a top, maybe 40, 50 record. I said, I agree. I think it's number one. So that's what we shouldn't be in a relationship. We shouldn't be in business together.
Wow.
So 2 days later, I get a call after I sent my lawyer sent a letter saying Dallas wants to get wants out. 2 days later, Gene Riggins, who's at radio, she called me. She said, yo, we tested this record at radio. This thing is going through the roof.
Wow.
This is going to be a big record. I literally said, I'm not impressed. Just hung the phone up. Because we already did this. I done went to Georgia's in Chicago. I done did all of that. You know, you had to go see everybody. We done did the groundwork.
Yeah.
So I know what they were saying already, right? But it's a disconnect always between the label and us in the environment because in the environment, we're living it. We're living what's happening here. At the label up in New York, they're at the label. They're sitting around the table, their staff meetings and, you know, doing that, but they're not in the environment. So it's always that battle between what they think is not. So then when she finally says it's going to go through the roof, Clive calls and says, well, we got one more problem. It needs a bridge. I said, you know what? I'm not putting a bridge in this record, bro. That's my first, put my foot down. Now sometimes you just send them what they want anyway. Like, turn up the bass. All right, here's the bass turned up, send them the same thing.
Turn up the bass.
Yeah, he told me that some didn't have enough 808. That's all right, man. Here you go. Just take that back. So, but this case, he was like, it needs a bridge. And I was like, see, here we go again. It's a girl singing, just one of them days of a backseat of the Jeep. It's not that serious. It's ignorant for a reason. It's not bridge worthy. She's not there yet. She's 13 years old.
13 years old, bro.
So, okay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So it goes out, takes off.
Goes out, it goes crazy.
Goes crazy.
Like, goes crazy.
And then she, you know, from that point, the brakes was off. He was like, okay, now we must go with, you know, and look, now being old enough, like I should have a label and distribution company like I have now, because now is the time for me to do it. But in your 20s ain't the time for you to really do that and understand the business of it like that.
Of course.
There's all kind of kickbacks going on. They charge you too much for T-shirts you don't know
Kickbacks
about.
was
It's all
crazy
kind of
back
like,
then,
you
too.
know, it's insane.
Kickbacks was crazy back then.
Yeah.
Kickbacks was crazy.
Kickback was the name of the game.
Allegedly.
The way I found out is because I wanted to order some T-shirts, right? I wanted 5,000 T-shirts and say they came back like, you know, 20 grand. But I'm like, well, I'm ordering from a rowdy store and they come back at $5,000.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the whole
yeah,
add-on to the,
Oh man, or the
after we got to Angel of Mine, I mean, he wanted to go with Angel of Mine or something next. So before you walk out of my life, and I was like, no, we got to go to like this and like that.
Yeah.
You got to keep staying Monica before you turn her into Whitney or whatever you want to do. So it was important that, because for her, Monica wasn't going to do that anyway. She was too busy being young enough to be like, that ain't it. That if it ain't got 808 in it, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And he didn't really know Monica like that. He knew that she was a great singer, but he didn't know her. So we was constantly like making her Monica to him, and then dealing with the real Monica we got here.
Yeah.
She'll pull up to that studio with them trunks rattling and a brown Lincoln Continental with C Murder or whoever else. And she would pull up with, always had street friends. She always had kids. They just didn't know the side of her. And she would always either be like putting tattoos on her arms or putting diamonds in her teeth. Or something. She was always doing stuff.
When Clive had to, they
put the band around her arm because Clive, you let her get a tattoo? She's 14. I didn't let her get anything.
Right.
She showed back up to the studio. She already had a tattoo.
It's gonna happen.
You have no idea what this woman is, bro. She's doing this on
That's
her own.
Monica Arnold right there.
Monica Arnold, bro. You don't know her, dog.
And by the time we went through, and I don't know how much that he really had ever really gotten to know her to that degree, because Monica had a lot of, she had anger issues. She had things that she was dealing with coming up in life, and just a lot of just traumatizing things happening. And so, but she's so strong as a young person that she would just say, okay, I'm ready. And then she's in the booth. But I go in there and look at the paper, it's full of words that she had to write over and over to get rid of her anger, or something that she had to get out just words over and over and over again, over and over and over again.
And you definitely dealt with Monica in that space where she would just write a bunch of things, whatever. She may not outwardly express whatever was going on in her life.
Yeah.
But she would just write
it out.
And she'll send us I wrote this poem, or I wrote these, and then we would take those and say, okay, all right,
She went through a lot of stuff at a young age, and that's why I was so glad that and it was a weird situation, because by the time we got to the Street Symphony album, and Clive had put out to all of us that he put out to all of us that he wanted a Boy's Mind before it was done. He's like, oh, we need a song like The Girl Is Mine, But when we got to that second album, and then he really started clamping down after The Boy's Mine, and after he had a fit about Street Symphony because he didn't want to see Murder on the record because his name was Murder.
I remember telling me this.
And then by the time, when things like that happen, they started to clamp more and more onto the artists and so I was like, you know what, I'll tell you what. I ended up doing something I didn't really want to do on the label, just to do it like this. But let me just leave her with you, and let me keep working on her. And I can take Rowdy and go do what I was doing, because now we having turmoil. I had Fishbone signed also, so I had rock bands and Karen Wooler from Soul to Soul. And so I wanted to move more in the Virgin Records direction, kind of like. So let me leave, but let's make the deal where Monica stays, because obviously I know this is the best place for her to be. And then we just worked from there. And that's when I left there and went on to say, okay, now we're going to end up in the indie world. And I don't really miss being, once you learn the bureaucracy and all the politics of the record companies and stuff, I don't really miss it. Because again, you don't have once the gut feeling left, that's when I left the building too.
And is this when you decided to do Free World?
Yep. Right after that, I started to do Free World.
Yeah.
And it was a freestanding label, which was interesting because we're funded by Allen and Company out of New York, which funded Disney and Coca-Cola and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So again, I was in a situation how am I in this situation? Full on staff in New York, 23 members, took my whole staff, put them in New York. And then they gave me Tool, the rock group. They gave me Matthew Sweet and the OJs. They gave me more bands, and then we put the Get It On Tonight record out.
I remember the
Boo record.
And then the only version Atlanta acknowledges.
Right? I swear, right? They still play it on one.
Montel, but the only version I ever heard in Atlanta was Derek Dimitri's version of Get It On Tonight.
That version is there. We shot the video, the whole nine to it.
Wow.
And Clive had a problem with his name being Boo Boo, right? But everybody knew him as Boo Boo.
Yeah.
But and that was something we would say in the community.
Yeah.
But in the big, scheme of how he looks at stuff, you can't have a guy named Boo Boo.
When you think about it, just imagine if It could have been Boo Boo.
It should have been Boo Boo.
It should have
Derek
been Boo Boo.
Dimitri kind of confused it a little bit because
Yeah.
like, is he Latin? Is he like,
Yeah.
And then so after that we did JT Money and Sammy.
Yeah.
Sammy was an interesting story because Joyce Irby gave me Sammy in us doing our settlement deal. She was like, I got this act, and if I bring you an act, would you do it if you like it? And I said, if I really like the act, I'll do it. I don't want to have to. She's like, no, only if you like it. If you don't do it, you're not going to do it anyway. I said, all right, cool. And
The act was Sammy.
The act was Sammy.
Wow.
Damn.
And we did I Like It, which crazy. I got 4 sample clearances just this week alone for my Like It.
It's a huge record.
Just this week alone, the last 4 days, I got sample clearances for I Like It.
Wow.
Like from all different rappers, all different people.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where with Free World, by the time we did Sammy and then JT Money, I had him kind of coming up at the same time. Well, no, I went over to when Tricky and them was doing the Crazy Things I Do for Love, and like when they did those records for Sam, I went over and Tony Mercedes played me Who Dat, and because Tony used to work at LaFace too. So I'm like, what is this? He's like, there's JT. I'm like, I gotta have the record. And then I didn't even know Tricky had did it at that point.
Wow.
I'm like, Tricky did this record? He's like, yeah, so that's my guy, come on. So we ended up putting out Who Dat. And then from that point, Free World was like back at it. It was
Off
just
to
like,
the races.
we was off to the races. It was going.
I remember, yeah.
And then by the time, we had the issues with Sammy, with him and it was mom, he was young, and his mom is managing him and stuff, so we had some issues there. And like I told him, I promised him when he got back, I said, when you turn 18, because it's weird to have to drop a child, especially when the child is doing great.
And the record was hot.
Hot. Couldn't get it any hotter.
The guy go in the middle of the run of this record.
Had to let him go at 750,000 albums sold.
Crazy.
You hate to see it.
It was just, but I promised him. I said, "Yo, man, when you get 18, come back and see me." And then he came back. That's what they used to be my girl. That's when Brian did Come With Me, and that was his. That's what really got him to be a grown up.
Yeah.
From that point, but it's interesting having record companies all that time because as a record label, you're paying out all the money.
Yeah.
So even if, and a lot of people didn't understand the science of the way labels work, because I don't know if if it's super successful, you're going to win, right? Anything in that middle, you can ask every group that ever did it. I was watching Silk the other day. I was watching it. Everybody that ever did it, you're going to find yourself in some kind of financial crisis.
No matter how good.
No matter how good, you're going to end up in some financial crisis in it unless you just turn into a superstar at some point. And that's, the bottom 10% of it that gets that far. But because of the money you got to spend, you got to spend a lot of money to make people don't understand how much money it takes to break an artist or to make an artist, or it takes a ton of money. So you always end up in some deficit as an artist, and that's why like the distribution company is better. I got DAD, and it's a different story because they pay you to sign up, and then you can kind of pick. It's like my big A&R board for me because I got artists around the world.
Yeah.
We got artists like that are artists that, whether it's the Pleasure P's or Jesse Smollet's, or artists that found themselves in the industry and have some traction under them, but don't trust the majors again, and don't really need to in a sense because they're on tour or they doing whatever. So we pick up them, and I like that business a lot better because it keeps you being a lot less. I don't like the snaky part of the business. Like I like a good. Give me a good no.
Word.
Give me a good no, that ain't it. Give me a good yes. But the industry, it is. They'll start wobbling and trying to see if they don't want to miss it if it does happen, and they want to lie to you and all that shit that we
you're right.
It's underhanded. And with those acts, you're able to, now the world is so smaller with the internet, social media. Artists are able to have a straight line to the consumer, to the listener, to the fan that's going to, enhance it. I did want to ask, we're coming out of you're signing artists, you're defining eras with the music, you're breaking acts. But then we get to The legacy acts. When legacy calls, like this is already established. When the Madonnas of the world call, when Michael Jackson calls, what is that phone call like? What is that experience like? And then you give them a jam, by the way.
But you know what? It's interesting because then during that time, like now with legacy calls, it feels different. It's almost like I don't know if I want to do that or not because I'm not really sit in a room with 10 people to do it. So like when Madonna or Michael calls, you know that they want you to do it with them. Like I need you to come work with me. So that's what you get. You get one-on-one time. You get time where you're working with them, and you're not like they're not scrounging around the room trying to find the hit. They're like, give me the record so I can go be Madonna. Or give me my record so I can go be Michael Jackson. So it's not like they're trying to figure out anything outside. It's a different type of thing when this era that turned into. Then I just didn't come from the era of 10 people writing in the room.
Yeah, they can't.
And I always say, I'm just that guy that goes, you got 2 minutes and you got one hook and 2 verses, and if it takes 10 people to do that, we got a problem. Like,
wow.
If you can't say what you mean in 2 minutes,
wow, bro,
you got a hook. It's gonna be the same thing the whole time. Then you got to just explain what the hook is about. It takes 10 people to do that. That's insane.
Insane.
So I just didn't come from the era of it. That's not that I don't think, like when I look at a song like All Day Nigga and I see 20-something people wrote it, you kind of just like, damn. Okay. Is this what I want to do right now? But you look at Jack Antonoff and when you look at some of the stuff that Weeknd of Max and them do, and you start to see they're still in that zone. It's something that came up with this top writer thing from LA or something where they just started getting no gut feeling no more, and the security became on what name they put in the room to do what, and that became the great song. No matter what it sounded like, just how many of y'all that's great did it in the room. And I remember telling Kanye when I was doing 4 or 5 Seconds, we were in Florence, and it was me and it's Rick Rubin and it's 88 and this. Mr. This and Mr. Hudson. It was everybody just in the room like we are here now. And he's kind of passing the song around, and I look at him and I said, you're not going to get the best out of either one of us doing that. Because all of us going to just be like, oh, that's cool. I respect Brian. I respect, it's like you're not getting the best out of either one of us. Because whether you're going to get a hi-hat here or a line that I wrote there or two words, you're not getting the best. You get the best if you put 2 or 3 of us off together. If you want to come in the room and work with us, well, let 2 of us go work or 3 of us go work. When there's 10 of us in the room, everybody kind of just like, you gotta hang out and talk to each other.
It's tough, right? Because
it's tough.
Like I've had a strong aversion to camps. If something great comes out of it, then I respect it. More power to you guys. But just kind of
I love a camp if it's like
to pass the mic around and hum melodies for 5
for
hours,
one song,
and then we do one line and piecemeal it is.
I like
It's
a tough process.
It's a tough process. Like it makes it a little more difficult. Like so, I really like either having an artist and another writer, or 2 of me and 2 writers, or me, whatever. It's just that, but when you put a bunch of randoms in the room that maybe people are great at different things or whatever, but I don't think you get the best out of the situation in that because your story gets dissected so much. Like Creep's my story, so I can only one can tell it that way. That's why I'm 100% write out a song, or like even hit 'em up styles, even stuff like that. That you just write out is a story you told. So I just need somebody to elaborate with me on this story. But if 10 of us, we can't elaborate on the same story. No. It's too many broken up phrases and words. So I did like. The part of working with Madonna about that was great. Even with Michael is the same way. I think that what I've learned is that the real big stars, they want it that way. They, not to say that Beyonce and them don't, but she'll still go to Dream.
There's certain people that
she's going to be her thing.
That's it. You know what I mean?
But if she takes a song that 10 people wrote that's great, she's not going to not take it.
And then 9 times out of 10, she's going to take it and make it hers.
She'll take it and make it hers.
She's going to make it great.
Yeah.
So then ultimately she becomes the writer anyway.
Yeah, ultimately back to my thing is for that to happen now, it's very rare that happens without it being that kind of situation where it's like, and then by the time you get the 10 other writers on it, your writing credits or your writing percentages is like, you had 2%
I
of a
literally
song.
just told somebody this the other day. I was like, it's so crazy how, you may start an idea, let's say like we talk about being a producer and how I grew up looking up to guys like you and JD and Jimmy and Terry, and I look at it as we got to get it to the finish line, right? A lot of, I would say the majority of producers now, people who claim to be producers, don't know what happens to the record after a certain point. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know who mixed it.
Yeah.
They basically hear the record when it comes out.
Yeah.
Like, that's been a lot of my experience working in this business, being an executive, dealing with, you know what I'm saying, other producers. I'm like, well, I'm trying to get to the bottom of something. But on my ledger, it says that you're the producer, or you and these three people are producers. Don't none of y'all know where the record at?
No.
Okay. Where's the mix engineer at?
Mix
Okay, who
with
mixed it?
files.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or you see artists now, I find an artist and I say, damn, they give me a 5-song demo. Like, this is really good. Who did this? Well, we've never actually been in the studio with a producer. I'm like, you haven't? Well, where'd you get these tracks from? Well, we got them, and then we recorded them with the engineer we had here, but we've never sat with a producer to record our tracks. So I feel like the magic in doing that is why you get some of the stuff you get out of Taylor Swift or Billie Eilish, or like some of the more focused,
Even
real,
Bruno,
like,
you know,
even out of
that's-
Bruno, they're gonna focus in, they're gonna have their little crew, and they're gonna stay in that, and that's why you feel like you get the songs you get out of it. So it's today I don't get as excited if you get that call and they say, "Oh, we're looking for songs for Rihanna." I say, well, "Okay, I can send you a song, I can write with somebody and give you one, but I don't want to go sit in your writing camp for Rihanna."
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I stopped that a long time ago because it's just I don't know. It ends up being to me, it's a sort of a waste of time unless you have a angle that, hey, you and this person are going to work in that room, and then we're going to switch you up, and then you and person are going to work in that room.
That's a different
and
kind
they're
of
going to
thing.
switch you up because we still need the story to be tight, and we only got 2 minutes to tell it. We used to have 7, then it went down to 4. Then it started getting 3:20.
3:15.
Now you have good 2.
2:15.
10 people in the room.
And Gerald
define how you
Busby, by the way,
create
back
magic.
to Luke to the Gerald Busby, the theme of this is that he was the first one to tell me this back when Laserdisc was out, and I was going. It was during the Boyz II Men time when we first did the album, and he had told me then. He said, "Man, Dallas, everything's gonna go smaller, shorter, faster." He said that big Laserdisc I just showed you, which was brand new at the time, the technology was new. I was like, "Damn, that's crazy." He said, that's all going away. He said, music's going to subscriptions. He said, songs and movies are going to turn into like snacks. I'll never forget he said that. He said it would be like 2-minute snacks. And so that's where we are right now.
He saw it.
He saw it. This was 90. This was 89. But again, him probably working at the Mattel and working in the industry and seeing how the shift of things would happen.
Yeah.
But when he said subscription to me, I didn't understand it then. And then he said, yeah, like HBO, because that's the only thing that was subscribed back then when he was telling me this.
You couldn't even fathom it.
Couldn't even fathom it. So like, I think now we're at this point where it's over 100,000 records that releases a day. Which is crazy. And the quality control is different. So if it is an artist now that I'm more interested in now in seeing who we can make big in the next 5 years, right? Because in our era, all the people that we grew up with, they're already super, so you can't really be, no matter who works on an Usher, it's still going to be the same thing as the guys that's responsible for the hits, right? So I want to be back responsible for the new one again, and like, so, okay, we found this other one, now we did the work on that to get that artist there, because a lot like now. Everybody that's pretty big done hit a pretty big ceiling. Like not even a ceiling, but it's so big and so there.
It is what it is, yeah.
It is what it is,
Creatively, how do you, when you're thinking about, that artist, how do you make something that has a lasting impact and not something that's just riding a current wave? Like I'm, trying to be a part of a current wave versus, lasting records. How do you make something that's, what's your approach?
I think that the first thing again is that song. It's always going to be that story in that song, and then from that point it's the melody to it that's going to land it classic or not. Because again, you only have you got to figure out your gumbo because there's only so many ways to go, right? So, and then you're back to that magic again, and how do I formulate something nobody's said this way, or heard this way? And that's again, it's a very magical thing that it'll be some topics or songs that will never have that title again or never be sung again like that. And it's just the approach. I like to just, if it's the story is there, and then really it's like how classic. If you want to make it that classic, then how classic can you how do I say it? Like the chords and stuff. Like when you hear a song now, like it's like as soon as you heard like "Fuck You" from Bruno Mars, I mean from CeeLo and Bruno,
yeah.
you knew that boom 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 boom. You're already there. You're right, because you already heard that before. It's already been embedded in you listening to soul music.
Yeah.
So now, as long as they take you there with a new topic like that, then you're like, okay, now I got something fresh.
Fair.
So it's really about what kind of gumbo you cooking up, and how you kind of. Doctor, I do it every day, which is the trip. I go home every day, some form of something. I'm doing dance records for David Guetta last week. Then you come back and then you write for Asian group. Then you're writing for, and it used to be in our industry, you was just really limited to what they said you did.
Exactly.
And that box right there was like my career. That defined my career because, like, it was the epitome of give me another one of those and I can't do it.
Wow.
But I feel like you were one of the ones who were always kind of in every circle. Like, you're making hit 'em up style, don't take it personal. But
And when you
then,
think about it, all those songs
I'll
are
fuck
one of
around
one.
and see you in Milan with Lenny.
Yeah.
And, just that kind of living that lifestyle and that, type of,
It all kind of went hand in hand, just
Yeah.
of like just from coming up being in the funkadelic and into like this kind of stuff you grew up with.
Yeah.
And also, in all fairness, I think coming up in the '70s or being born in that era, it was the first era of them putting black kids and white kids in the classes together that really got along and didn't know anything about what happened before that.
Yeah.
So I started listening to Duran Duran and all that in junior high school, or before that was all funkadelic and all that was and Isley Brothers and all the things I was getting from my mom's restaurant and Prince and all that. But as soon as I got into school, it turned into U2, Depeche Mode.
MTV was new.
it was brand new.
It turned into all of that.
Tears for Fears, all this stuff.
So I got a question. I saw some online debate that's raging on Twitter today. Duran Duran versus Tears for Fears.
Duran.
All day.
No question.
No, but see, I realized Tears for Fears, I loved them, but they had two records that were like their biggest two records was like The Shout and Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Yeah.
Whereas Duran Duran, eras of just like the sound
My
of Duran
joint.
Duran.
I mean, of
is
course,
like,
Head Over Heels too, but it's only
Head Over
there's
Heels and
three songs.
Shout.
Huh?
Head Over Heels and Shout. Right?
Oh yeah, and Everybody Rules the World. So
Everybody
it's
Wants to
three,
Rule the
yeah.
three. Yeah.
So it's three.
Well, those were the same album, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it's all the same album, songs from the Big Chair.
Yeah.
But I also enjoyed Sowing the Seeds of Love, which was their next
Sowing
album.
the Seeds of
I
Love was
enjoyed
really
album,
good.
but
That was good.
That was like the entry of like VH1 when
That was
VH1
really
was
good.
playing like white adult contemporary stuff, and they would always play Sowing the Seeds of Love, and they would play Soul to Soul, Back to Life. VH1, 1989. That was like the two videos that was like in a major rotation. You know what I'm
I
saying?
was doing Duran Duran in London, and I would literally pinch myself like this when he
Not even
started.
producing Duran Duran is crazy.
When he started
In
singing,
London.
That's so
This is
cool.
a rich nigga
I did this
tale.
for like
That's a
2
rich
months.
nigga tale right there.
Hold on.
That was also producing Duran Duran.
In London.
But I would be literally
Yeah.
pinching myself when he started singing because, like, me growing
Simon
up,
LeBon.
growing up in junior high school, all the way up through, elementary, all the way through my high school years, listening to Duran Duran and his tone, it wasn't like, they're from the UK, so like you wouldn't see them all the time, but you wouldn't, so that even made them huger and more unobtainable. And like when Duran Duran would come to America, it would just be like, remember Tower
huge.
Records, they lined around Tower Records all down Sunset. Like it was just amazingly huge. So I couldn't believe I was working with them because again, that goes back to like, I grew up on them. I've listened to the Reflex 20,000 times. I've listened
Were
to
they hungry
Rio.
like the wolf?
Hungry Like the Wolf.
Was that Hungry Like the Wolf?
Yes. Reflex, Notorious, Say a Prayer for Me
That
Now.
album was Seven in the Ragged Tiger. Seven in the Ragged Tiger. Was
Oh my
one of
God.
like the
I got
best
it.
albums.
And I was working with him and Nick Rhodes, back to keyboards.
Nick Rhodes.
Nick Rhodes was like one of the first people I saw that had Rolling on the back of his
Yes.
keyboard when I was a kid, coming
Yes.
up in his keyboard era I was talking about. And I was just like, man, one day I gotta have that Jupiter 8 like him. I gotta have that Jupiter 6 like him. But Nick Rhodes has always been the keyboard MIDI man. I go to work with them and he has a warehouse. Like I got 3 storage rooms. He has a warehouse full of keyboards.
Yeah.
So when he needs them, he sends his people to go get the ones he wants. They bring them back in the van.
Some real rock star shit.
Boom,
too,
right? That's some real rock star shit. What's crazy is because these keyboards are old, like the Moogs and the Oberheims and the Prophets and all that, when you have them in stores like that, they're gonna fall out of tune.
You gotta tune them, get them tuned, yeah.
I'm playing the keyboards in while he's in the session with me, some bang, bang, bang. They're out of tune, right? But I'm thinking when he leaves, I'm gonna fix them,
Yeah.
right? So he leaves. I've started replacing the Moog with the other Moog, same sounds, whatever.
Yeah.
He walks in the next day and he goes, "Wait, what happened?"
What bloody happened here?
Dallas, is this digital? I was like, well, yeah, I added some digital. Do not do digital on any of my things. Do not do that. I was like,
Take
I'm
that
sorry.
shit off of there.
I was like, but it's out of tune. It's supposed to be out of tune. This is the oscillators. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Like,
Too real. Too real.
That perfection in the imperfection.
What's my
Yeah,
man? What's
man.
my man, the bass player, John?
oh, yeah, John Andy,
Taylor.
John Taylor, Andy Taylor. Like, Duran defined like
Crazy.
the sound. And then, but also, if you look at Nile Rodgers, right, Nile Rodgers was one of the first ones who
David Bowie and
was the black guy producing
Madonna.
the stuff in the UK and coming out. So I would follow him because of that reason. I'd be like, as soon as I heard the jink, 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 I'm like, is that Nile Rodgers? So then I started following him all through that era of the 80s. Like if he was doing Madonna, if he was doing David Bowie and all the records that he was working on. And then
That's
that
so
made me want to be that producer at that time. I'm like, you know what? Now I got to go to the UK and I got to do like Nile Rodgers is doing.
No, so that's so interesting you brought his name up because that's who when I think of Dallas Austin in the 90s, because you understand, he was still making records for TLC, still making Illegal was signed to Rowdy. You know what I mean? Like, but still making the money. But then
I remember being a teenager and we get word in Atlanta, Dallas is in London working with the fine young
Cannibals.
Oh, yeah.
Dallas is in the UK right now working with fine young cannibals.
I think that, and I feel like every producer, and we talk about Pharrell, we talk about Q-Tip,
Yep.
my cousin Donnie Scantz, like he's,
Donnie's amazing.
You know what I mean? Like, you are the person that they all looked at like, okay, we could do it all. You know, we know there's not a space where we have to be like in this box of like, I'm only doing R&B, I'm only doing hip hop, I'm only doing, you know what I mean?
That's right.
You were like this guy that came out of nowhere and really, like I said, understand your R&B roots. The fact you were signing Joyce Irby.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that, you know, your first records were like Troop, I Will Always Love You, and, you know, like these R&B roots to really being a pioneer of like the hip hop R&B merge.
Yeah.
Bomb Squad with chords on top. Because it wasn't quite what you were, because Teddy was hip hop, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it
But see,
wasn't.
Teddy could still play like, Teddy plays like you. Like y'all play like gospel.
Church chord,
exactly.
Y'all be doing
Put those chords on it.
Yeah. I came up as a guy that was saying a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, right?
Yeah.
Nothing extra crazy, but I was just playing everything.
was still very lush.
Oh.
Very in the same space of like Jimmy.
Yeah, of course.
Like
Jimmy.
Him and Jimmy, like in that same kind of thing.
Yep.
And it was, even though it was gritty, it was still clean.
Mm-hmm.
You listen to those guy records, it was gritty. James Brown samples, it was gritty, but it's
Found a
still
way
like
to
this
clean it all up.
Harlem, uptown cleanness to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where your records sound like Bomb Squad.
And you know what's funny?
You know
Like
what I mean?
if you listen back, because I listen back to I go to my Spotify list sometimes, and like, yeah, they sound muddy actually.
It's like Public Enemy.
Like Public Enemy, I would take treble off of my stuff to be unclean. And like LA and them would be like, what do you do? The mix sound muddy or whatever, because I'm chasing the Bomb Squad so bad with all the bass and all the noise that I don't realize it till even now when I go back and listen. I'm like, oh shit, those sound like the high end is
No high end is motherfucker.
That's why Jimmy liked Dr. Dre, because he was like, Dre comes in and Dre makes all that SP 1200 records and all that shit y'all doing on the East Coast.
Bomb Squad,
sound,
like, I didn't want my records
I
sound
don't
like
want
Bomb Squad.
He said he didn't want his to sound that way. He wanted his to sound like clean records and like, so Dre would go back and make them clean, and all the East Coast records would sound dusty and dirty.
Even though Dre was extremely inspired by the Bomb Squad also. You listen to those early NWA records.
Yeah.
It was early, you know what I mean? All the samples, and it was very, very Bomb Squad-ish, but Dre had that, you know,
He had the sheen
cleanness
to
on
it.
top of it.
What artists right now, and what do you love about the landscape? What landscape, what genre, what artists do you love right now?
I really love Fouché is one of my favorite artists. She's a just incredible female artist, writer, singer. I love the new Nas Barkley album. I didn't even know. I think a lot of people didn't even know it came out. Because
When I
last
saw
night,
that dinner, I was like, oh, let me go listen to the album. I didn't realize it was out.
It's some great music on there. I've been having that on repeat for the last couple of days, just because for real, CeeLo has a way of, and I used to tell him this all the time, like outside of bullshit, you prophesize, and that's what people expect from you at this point, and they
And
need
from
to hear
Green
from you
Mouse first
sometimes,
album
and
all
you
the
do
way
it in a
down.
way that's so prophetic and so poetic that you don't realize that people need to hear it until you don't realize how starved you were until you hear it. So I'm listening to the lyrics on the record he has now, when it's like, I amnesia, turn your heart back on, and listen to these lyrics of these songs, and I'm like, okay, here's some inspiration again, or here's something that feels like, damn, I wish I'd have did that.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to get that feeling these days of, damn, I wish I'd have did that. You can say, I like that record,
We used to get that feeling a
but
lot
damn, I
back
wish
in
I'd
the
have
day.
did that.
Yeah.
I wish that damn, I wish I did that record.
Yeah.
And it's harder to find. The landscape of music is changing so much, just with everything. I don't care if it's AI, I don't care if it's samples coming back, or just people now trying to find another way to be better as songwriters. You know what I'm saying? To find something more clever than the next thing. I think it is a tipping point going on there right now. So hopefully in the next year or two, that all gets like way more interesting. Because I feel like it's on the way there. To just having something that I remember when I heard either Hey Ya, and I remember when I heard Crazy.
Crazy.
I heard Crazy, I didn't even know how to feel. I didn't know how to feel for a long time. I was like, it took me a week to
So
decide
amazing
how I
record.
felt about that record. Because my emotions was everywhere.
Yeah.
And I called
Such an
CeeLo
amazing
then. I was like, man, this is going to be one of the biggest records, I think, of the decade. He's like, you think so? I was like, shit, the way I feel right now, if everybody else going to feel like this.
Yeah.
And when you first heard that song, it really did strike
It's amazing. Crazy is an amazing record.
So I look forward to more songs doing that, and finding more artists, I feel like, to develop out Atlanta. Atlanta is a very interesting place because it develops itself. Like kids in high school are doing it right now. They're doing something right now that's the next interesting thing. And, you don't know what it's going to be. It could be straight up pop. A lot of the cats right here now doing punk pop. A lot of the black acts are, coming around in Atlanta now doing the punk pop, the Hero, the Band, the Paradox. So it's an interesting landscape, I think, of where I like to see Atlanta stay the creative element that it is. Because, just think of it, for 10 years, you got trapped in hip hop and they thought that that's all was here. And then hip hop ate itself up so much in Atlanta that, because at one point it was just like, dude, you can't even tell what was going on. It was just every fruity little beat that you can hear times 10, and everybody and so now I feel like it is getting to a point now where it is, like, even when you hear the T.I. record or you hear
Yes.
things that cut right through, it starts to feel like more, Atlanta's full of shit you haven't heard before. And that's what I want to get back to.
Atlanta's such an interesting paradox for me, coming here. I moved here in 97. So coming here and meeting people like a Craig Love, right? And Craig explaining to me how much Prince influenced this region in the early 80s. And how niggas was dressing like Prince.
For sure, bro.
But you better not
I was
run
one
up.
of them.
But you better not run up on none of them. You
Right.
get your ass whooped.
Right.
But niggas was dressing like Prince. Niggas was really into that music thing. Like right before hip hop really came in and really took over the scene. It was like Atlanta has this rich musical history.
What's crazy is that
Brick and SOS Band. And,
when me and JD first started hanging out at 15, 16, Godby Road was known as being New York.
wow.
Because Godby Road had all the New Yorkers, and they were coming out, all the Arab for president and all that kind of hip hop, the Boogie Down and all that stuff was all on Godby Road.
Get out of here.
And I guess because the New York dudes kind of moved there in that little strip or whatever, but Godby was full of New York hip hop. And
Wow.
that's where it was Shadi, Chain, all them it kind of merged, that whole sound and stuff. That's where we started getting it from. Even is it was there, down in Old National.
I
Wow.
don't think I knew that.
Yeah, that's JD about that. Like, they
But
gotta
it's
be
funny
rolling.
because, like I said, even when I'm talking to Rocco, you know,
Okay.
Rocco's like I'm talking about Jermaine's security Rocco.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay.
He's Rock's like, you know, he Old National, even though he's from Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But for him,
They had a
he's
whole
Old
movement
National.
down at Old National. Like, everybody from New York.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, Gazelles, Adidas, Kangos, boomboxes.
Yeah.
They bought New York with them from Brooklyn, Bronx,
Wow.
everywhere. But they was on Godby Road. And I remember going to basement parties, and that's the first place I hear like, make them clap to this,
Herbie
make
Rakim.
them clap to this. Like, just like a New York basement party, but on Roswell Road. I mean, on Godby Road.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
So as
crazy.
we close out, and what do you want to be, you know, and you're a long way from being done. So it's kind of hard to ask people who are in the middle of it and the best is yet to come. But what would you like your legacy to be known for? What would you like to be remembered for?
I mean, it's, at the end of
Do
the
you
day,
care?
man.
Do you?
Well,
Okay.
you know, you want to care to be that care that you affected someone else to either be that way or kind of take those reins from you. Because I always say I'm just here to help God out. When I'm done, I'm gonna go home.
Nice.
So
Fair.
it's a big planet.
I
So I
love
just came
that.
here to do my
I'm
job.
here to help
You know what I'm
God
saying?
out.
I
And
used
when
to,
I'm done, I'm going home.
yeah, I used to pray when I was a kid, man. I was 7. I used to be like, God, help me help somebody else. Help me help somebody else. So that's always been in my nature, just to like to do that, even with putting the studios in the schools and stuff that we do here, or like whatever it is. You know, it's just like you want to be known for, man. He did great at, you know, helping society be a better place. He left it better than he found it when he got here.
Word.
You know, that's what I want to do. And then my new goal now is just to, you know, really blow DAD out to be kind of like what guys and them did in San Francisco. And like my next 2 years is gonna be about really making the biggest distribution company out of the South.
So that's why I want to kind of ask a question about DAD.
Yes.
Because I've been seeing you build this concept.
Dallas Austin distro. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Watch you build this concept, build the whole perspective. And my thing to you is like, what is it about distribution? Let me frame the question. How is DAD going to be different from like an Empire, or like from a TuneCore rather? Because your Empire might be relatively, but I'm talking about like, because a lot of people want to know, especially when putting out records, what the difference is. You know, people know TuneCore and DistroKid and other different things, but DAD feels way more elevated than that. So
Yeah.
I just want to get into that.
It's interesting because, you know, me having labels for so long and then having distribution deals after that and having the tune cores and stuff. Like, one thing I learned about the digital distribution is it's a big Dropbox, it's a big hard drive, it's a big server,
Okay.
right? So it's no difference in us, it's just a big server. And when companies are concerned with built up a volume, all they want you to do is fill that server up. So they don't have any music connection. There's no reason for DistroKid to have any music connection to call a radio station or to do anything. You know, they don't need to do that. That's not the business that they're in.
They're in the
So it's like
data
almost like a
business.
Dropbox, like in the storage business,
Yeah.
right? But that storage business gets you on Apple,
And if
Apple
something
Music and whatever
blows
else,
up,
right?
if something blows up, that's just cool.
Something blows up, they're cool. But if not, they got 30,000 more people that's already just there. Everybody knows, like, pretty much from Spotify standpoint, you only make money on 1,000 streams plus, but the majority of people on Spotify don't get 1,000 streams. The majority don't even get to 1,000, so they're still making money off of the volume that's there. So, you know, after doing all that, I said, well, you know what? It's time for a new medium. I do believe direct to consumer coming up. That's why we have Share. I've been having Share for years, but it's all about you being able to choose your own streaming rate and choose your own sell rate, because that's the only part that got missing out of when the industry changed. You know, it used to take $300,000 to make you an album, right? You got a big budget, got the SSLs, you got this. Now you send people go make their album and say, okay, I did it on my computer, right? So let's say if that even cost you the mastering $250. But now you're going to load it to a system that's blocking your rate from being whatever it is. So to me, you should choose that rate because you made the product, right? So if you made it, you should be the one choosing the rate. Why are they choosing the rate of something that you just sit here and did? So that's going to go away after a while because that's the last ceiling. You know, to say that 10,000 people is not enough fans for you is
It's
ridiculous.
crazy.
If you show up somewhere and 10,000 people are there, singing your song. That's not good. So it's distorted the picture of what this is supposed to be, and it's made artists not even work as hard because they'll go like, oh, I don't got 5,000 people follow me yet, or I don't have I don't have 100,000 people. So they start to get into their heads. It's like, no, you got to work at it. You got to work every day, and they don't realize that what it is about being an artist is that you take it don't happen like this. It takes a lifetime to do it. You know,
lifetime.
it takes a life. You have to decide for the rest of my life, I'm going to be an artist. So it's not about if I get rich here, or here. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. That's my
This is
career.
what I am.
Yeah.
I'm an artist. This is what I am. And at some point, somebody's going to see that if I keep doing this. So everybody in Atlanta that we've seen, I've seen Ciara come up. Ciara was 10, 11, 12, 13 when we signed Monica, if she was that. So every artist in Atlanta, the thing they got a chance to do is see everybody else make it. Somebody in their school came out of their school and became Lil Baby. Somebody became, Soulja Boy. Everybody was just like, oh, he did it. They did it. They did it. Somebody became Escape. So they see that stuff and they say we can do it too. And then you got this whole influx of all new artists that's coming up and come around, right? So that's really where, the magic's going to lie in really trying to find those special artists that need to get through that cut. Because with that many records being distributed and so many people making records, the good part about it is you can get your record out there. Bad part about it is it's like thrown into the ocean because it's so vast. So what we want to do is make sure that I don't want to be the Costco. I don't want to be like the distro kid, love the money they're making. But my real goal was to say, if you're an artist, you got management, or you know what you're doing, and you know the right questions, let us help you out.
Okay.
So we have people that'll go, in all these distribution companies, when you sign up, you own your own masters anyway, right?
Yeah.
But that trick is when they ain't worth shit, they ain't worth shit. Right? So you can own them. Nothing.
You own nothing.
But if we have people that'll sign up to us and go, okay, well, our budget is $100,000 and we want to do, our plan is to do, we're going to do, get a publicist over here, we're going to do this, so we're going to take 25 and do this and that. And the only thing they don't say that we make them say is like, wait, hold on, man. See, you're trying to buy your way into this. That ain't going to happen. So that same 20 grand you want to blow right now on this one publicist, no, you need to take $1,000 a month and make that go for 20 months. You need to take $5 a month and make that stay for a year and keep putting your records out and having a consistent basis of that thing is going to run every time it's out. Right? And then go back to work. Like, even an artist as big as David Guetta, who has billions of streams and arguably like the biggest DJ in the world, every Friday he drops a song right now. You don't even know they're coming out.
Wow.
Every Friday he's dropping a song because he's addicted to feeding that beast. He's already done it, and then he shows that it works. So if you got producers and writers and people that work with you, you got your ammunition up. He just load them up for the year. Boom, 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 boom. So every Friday that's going to come out. So what artists need to know basically too is like that. For one, the rush don't get it, and for two, you got to buckle in, decide I'm going to do this the rest of my life.
Yeah.
If you do that, you'll end up making it. You'll end up being one of the ones that, like, if I look at Ludacris and look at when he came to me at first, when him and Poon had the radio show, I funded a video show that they had. Because that's what they want to do. They was like they had Love and Dr. Dre, right? But then he came to me and started playing me rap records that was like really hardcore rap records back then, right? Now, oh man, you gotta talk to some girls, man. You too, you look too cute for all that, bro.
Yeah.
They came back and played me What's Your Fantasy. I'm like, oh shit,
Damn.
that's it. There you go. See you later. So look how long it took Ludacris to be Ludacris. It took him all the way up to now to still be that.
Yeah.
So you just got to career it. You got to do this every day and not try to judge yourself too hard, and let the people be the one who call you that. I'm not a songwriter or producer because I said it. Neither are you or you. You're that because everybody else said it.
Great point.
Those millions of people that bought the record said it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Wow. No, that's great. Listen, man, we appreciate you coming to sit down with us.
Yeah.
Before we go, we always ask our guests and you've been dropping gems the whole way, but one last gem for the person watching to take with them, what would you say to them?
I say, man, you got 24 hours in a day, right? And if you got to look at how much time you got in that 24 hours to do whatever you're going to do to be great at, you got to be maximizing that 24, So, like, if you look at your whole week, and in that week, Because your head will play a trick on you and make you think you're doing stuff. Your mind will create it and say, oh, I'm going to do this week. And it almost registers like you did it. But you really didn't do it and you didn't finish it. So I would say take advantage of your 24-hour day period if you want to be successful. Put the most energy you can into whatever you love and take up the most time you can doing that. And then you're going to equal success on the other side. And for the youngsters, stop being so hard on yourself when it comes to if you got 5,000, 10,000, 2,000, that scale is going to kill you. You better just go ahead and do what you do and then wake up one day and you got 250,000 or a million because you was great at doing what you're doing. But I've seen it cut people off because they think they're not good enough if they don't achieve that 1, 2, 3,000 or whatever else. So I'll just say, buckle up, man. Buckle up.
It's a long
Enjoy the
ride.
ride.
Enjoy the ride. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Dallas Austin,
Peace.
the iconic. I'm John Tay Austin.
I'm Brian Michael Cox.
My uncle.
Right there. I could be. See you guys next time on Sessions.
Peace.